There is a language older than words, a frequency that communicates not what you think, but what you are. It is a silent, resonant field that flows beneath the clamor of the mind, beneath the architecture of personality and the stories we tell ourselves. This is the frequency of empathy, not empathy as the world has taught you to understand it, not a soft and sentimental feeling of pity, but a perceptual faculty of the soul, a forgotten sense. It is the raw, unmediated knowing of another's state of being, and in that knowing, the recognition of yourself. This is not a skill to be learned, but a state to be remembered. It is a homecoming. We have been trained to listen to words, to analyze expressions, to navigate the complex maps of social interaction, but we have forgotten how to simply feel the weather in the room, to sense the subtle tide of another's inner world without judgment or interpretation. We have become deaf to the most honest communication that exists. This journey, the one we are embarking on together now, is not about adding another tool to your collection. It is about subtraction. It is about unlearning the habits of the ego that create separation. It is about dissolving the internal noise so that you can finally hear the subtle music that connects all things. We will not be constructing, we will be excavating. We will be clearing away the debris of conditioning and fear that has buried this innate human capacity. You are here because a part of you already knows this language. You have felt it in moments of profound connection, in a silent understanding with a stranger, in the wordless comfort of an animal, in the deep presence of nature. That feeling, that subtle, powerful current, is the signal. It is the truth calling you back to yourself. So let go of the need to strive. Let go of the ambition to become more empathetic. Your only task is to become more still, more present, more open. The power is already within you, waiting not to be built, but to be revealed. We are about to step through a door, away from the world of doing and into the world of being. Here, in this space, we will learn to listen to the silence, and in that silence, we will discover the force that truly shapes reality. The journey begins now. We begin our journey not by looking outward, but by turning the gaze inward to a place more intimate and more vast than the physical world. Before you can truly see another, you must first have the courage to see yourself. There is a landscape within you, an entire ecosystem of thought, feeling, and memory. For now, let us call it your inner garden. The world tells you to be empathetic, to extend your compassion to your neighbor, to the stranger, to the suffering. This is a noble pursuit, but it is an impossible one if it begins from a place of inner scarcity. It is the spiritual equivalent of being commanded to feed a hungry village when you yourself are starving. The desire to connect, to soothe, to understand others often arises from a deep, unrecognized need to receive that same connection, soothing, and understanding ourselves. We rush to offer a cup of water to a thirsty traveler, all while our own throat is parched, our own well is dry. This is not generosity, it is a subtle form of self-abandonment. The first, most profound act of empathy, the one upon which all others are built, is the act of turning towards your own inner garden and daring to see what is truly there. So let us walk through this garden together. For many, this is an unfamiliar, even frightening territory. For years, perhaps a lifetime, the gate has been locked. We catch glimpses of it through the bars. We hear unsettling noises from within, but we dare not enter. What does this neglected garden look like? The soil is likely hard and compacted, packed down by years of relentless self-criticism, by the heavy footfalls of, "I am not good enough. I should have known better. I am unlovable." This is the ground from which nothing new and tender can easily grow. It resists nourishment. Water, in the form of kindness or compliments from others, simply runs off the surface, unable to penetrate to the roots. And the weeds are rampant. They are the looping, anxious thoughts that choke out the light. They are the thorny bushes of past resentments, snagging you whenever you try to move forward. They are the creeping vines of comparison, measuring your every flower against the gardens of others you see on display. Gardens that always seem more vibrant, more perfect. You see, the weeds have grown so thick and tangled that they have become the dominant landscape. You have mistaken the weeds for the garden itself. You have come to believe that this state of inner chaos is your fundamental nature. And who is the gardener in this scenario? Often, the gardener has become the greatest threat to the garden's survival. The gardener stands there, not with a watering can of compassion, but with a canister of poison labeled judgment. With every perceived failure, every wilted bloom, the gardener sprays another dose, believing this harshness will somehow force the garden into compliance, into perfection. We believe that if we punish ourselves enough, we will finally become worthy. If we are relentless in our criticism, we will eradicate our flaws. But this is a profound misunderstanding of nature, both inner and outer. You cannot hate a garden into blooming. You cannot shame a seed into sprouting. The constant internal warfare, the endless critique, only serves to further deplete the soil, to poison the water table, to ensure that only the most resilient and stubborn weeds can survive. From this place of inner desolation, how can you possibly offer sanctuary to another? When a friend comes to you in their own storm, you have no shelter to offer, for your own lands are barren and windswept. Their rain simply adds to your flood. Their pain triggers your own untended wounds, and your response becomes tainted by your own scarcity. You might offer advice that is really a projection of your own fears, or a solution that is a desperate attempt to silence their discomfort because it amplifies your own. You cannot hold space for another's reality when you have not even claimed the space within yourself. True empathy is not possible from a state of inner neglect. It is a flower that can only grow from cultivated ground. So the first act of the empathetic soul is not to run outward, but to kneel down. It is to place your hands in the soil of your own being. The work does not begin with a violent ripping out of weeds. That is just another form of self-aggression. No, the first act is simply to observe, to be present in your own garden, perhaps for the first time. You walk through it, and you notice the hardness of the soil without scolding it. You see the tangled weeds, and acknowledge their presence without cursing them. You see the thirsty, drooping flowers, and you feel a flicker of something new, not judgment, but a gentle ache of recognition. This is the state of things. This is what is here. This observation, free from the need to immediately fix or condemn, is the first drop of rain on the dry ground. It is the beginning of acceptance. You stop fighting the reality of your inner world. This is where you are. And from this place of radical honesty, the true work can begin. You start to tend to the soil. You begin to question the voice of the harsh gardener. Where did it learn that cruelty was a tool for growth? Whose voice is it really? Your father's, your mother's, a culture's? As you question it, its power diminishes. You begin to loosen the compacted earth, not with force, but with curiosity. You start to water it, consciously, with small acts of self-compassion, forgiving yourself for a mistake, allowing yourself to rest when you are tired, speaking a single kind word to your reflection. Each act is a drop of water, and slowly, miraculously, the ground begins to soften. You learn to approach the weeds not as enemies, but as messengers. This weed of anxiety, what is it trying to protect you from? This thorn bush of anger, what boundary is it trying to defend? When you listen to the weeds, you understand their roots. And when you understand their roots, you can gently, lovingly ease them out, thanking them for the message they brought, and creating space for something new to grow. In this process of tending, a profound realization dawns. You are not the gardener, separate from the garden, acting upon it. You are the garden, Your being is the entire ecosystem. Your attention is the sun. Whatever you consistently focus on is what will grow. Your emotions are the weather. They are natural, passing storms and spells of sunshine, not permanent states to be feared or clung to. And your thoughts, your beliefs, are the seeds. For so long you have been unconsciously scattering seeds of doubt, fear, and unworthiness, and then wondering why you are living in a field of thorns. Now, you can choose which seeds to plant. You can consciously choose to plant a seed of self-worth, a seed of trust in your own journey, a seed of belief in your own resilience. You may not see the flower tomorrow. Growth requires patience, but you have changed the fundamental dynamic. You are no longer at war with yourself. You have become a conscious cultivator of your own inner landscape. You are becoming a sanctuary for yourself. And here is the beautiful secret. As your garden begins to heal and flourish, your relationship with the world transforms effortlessly. When your own inner ground is soft and nourished, you can absorb the rain of another's sorrow without turning into mud. You can offer them the shade of your presence, the genuine shade of a tree that is deeply rooted in its own soil. When your own flowers are blooming, you do not feel the need to pick theirs. You can celebrate their beauty without comparison because you are secure in your own. The fragrance of your own garden, the quiet, peaceful energy of a well-tended inner space, becomes your silent offering to the world. Your cup is full, and what you give to others is the natural, effortless overflow. You do not need to try to be empathetic anymore. You simply are. Your presence itself becomes a healing agent, a quiet permission for others to feel safe, to feel seen, to be real. This is the foundation, not a trick of communication, not a method, but a state of being. And from this nourished, sacred ground within, we can now face the great shadow that stands at the gate of every human connection, the ultimate barrier to seeing truly. We can now face the ego. Having cultivated the ground of your inner garden, you begin to notice something else. You notice the high, formidable walls that surround it, and the tireless, vigilant guard who paces at the gate. This guard is the shadow of the self. It is the ego. It is crucial to understand what this entity is and what it is not. The ego is not you. It is not your essence, your soul, or your true nature. It is a survival mechanism, a psychological construct built from the raw materials of your life. It is a collage of thoughts, beliefs, memories, roles, and identifications. It is the voice that says, I am a parent, I am an artist, I am intelligent, I am wounded, I am not like them. It is the phantom I that you believe yourself to be, a temporary identity held together by mental energy and the constant reinforcement of a story. This guard's sole purpose is to protect this fragile identity, to defend the borders of this story of me. And it is this guard, this shadow self, who is the greatest barrier to true, profound connection. Empathy is the dissolution of boundaries. The ego is the architect of boundaries. They are, by their very nature, opposing forces. To understand why the ego is so antithetical to empathy, we must understand its prime directives, the core programming that governs its every move. Its first and most fundamental function is to create separation. The moment a child learns the word mine, the ego begins its work of dividing the seamless reality of the universe into two distinct categories, me and not me. This pen is me, that chair is not me. This body is me, that body is not me. This thought is me, your thought is not me. This foundational act of division is essential for navigating the physical world, but it becomes a prison for the soul. Empathy requires a felt sense of shared existence, a recognition of the other as another version of the self. The ego, by its very design, cannot allow this. It must constantly patrol the border, reinforcing the idea that you are fundamentally separate, isolated and alone inside your own skin. It whispers that you end where your skin ends, and the rest of the world is a foreign territory filled with others who are not you and are therefore potential threats or tools for your own advancement. From this foundation of separation, the ego's second directive arises: comparison and judgment. In order to maintain and define the fragile story of me, the ego must constantly measure itself against everything it perceives as not me. Am I taller or shorter, smarter or dumber, more successful or less successful, more enlightened or more ignorant? This relentless inner monologue of comparison turns every interaction into a covert or overt competition. When you meet someone, the egoic mind doesn't seek to connect, it seeks to assess. It scans for data to determine your place in a perceived hierarchy. Are they a threat to my status? Can they be useful to me? Do they affirm my worldview? In this mental framework, other people cease to be sovereign beings on their own journey. They become props and mirrors for the ego's drama. Empathy asks you to meet another on a level field, to see their humanity as equal to your own. The ego can only see a ladder, and it is desperately concerned with which rung you both are standing on. It cannot fathom a connection that is not based on superiority, inferiority, or utility. The ego's third directive is identification with form. It clings to things to bolster its sense of self. These forms can be physical, like possessions, money, or appearance. They can be social, like a job title, a role in a family, or a political affiliation. And most subtly, they can be mental, like an opinion, a belief system, or even a past trauma. The ego says, I am a liberal, and so anyone who holds a conservative view is not just different, they are a threat to the ego's very identity. The ego says, I am a victim of a difficult childhood, and it creates an entire identity around that story of suffering. When it meets someone who had a similar childhood, but is not identified with the victimhood, it feels deeply threatened. Their freedom challenges the ego's prison. To the ego, an attack on its opinion is an attack on its life. It cannot differentiate between what it has an opinion, a body, a story, and what it is. This is why discussions so often devolve into defensive battles rather than open exchanges. The person you are talking to is not really listening to you. Their ego is listening for threats to its constructed reality. And in that defensive crouch, empathy is impossible. The drawbridge to the fortress is pulled up. The archers are at the ready. This leads to the ego's most exhausting directive, the need to be right. For the ego, being right is not a matter of preference. It is a matter of survival. If its story, its opinion, its version of events is proven wrong, the ego feels a micro-death. It feels a crack in the foundation of its identity. Therefore, it will defend its position with ferocious, often irrational intensity. Think of a simple argument with a loved one. How often is it truly about the subject at hand, and how often is it about the raw, desperate need to have your version of reality validated? This drive turns conversation into combat. Instead of listening to understand, the ego listens to find flaws, to formulate a rebuttal, to gather ammunition for its counterattack. It is a strategist, not a confidant. While this mechanism might be useful in a formal debate, it is poison to intimacy and connection. Empathy requires the willingness to suspend your own reality for a moment and step into another's. It requires the humility to say, tell me how it looks from your side. I want to see through your eyes. To the ego, this is not humility. It is surrender. It is suicide. We see this gatekeeper in action every day. It is the part of you that, when a friend shares their struggle, immediately feels the impulse to say, oh, that's nothing. You should hear what I went through. The ego hijacks the conversation, unable to tolerate the focus being on another's story for too long. It must bring the spotlight back to me. It is the subtle, internal smirk you feel when a rival at work makes a mistake, a flicker of pleasure that reinforces the ego's sense of superiority. It is the part of you that dispenses unsolicited advice, not from a pure place of service, but from a need to establish yourself as the knowledgeable one, the one with the answers. It is the defensiveness that flares up when your beliefs are questioned, the sudden heat in your chest, the tightening in your jaw. These are not your moral failures. They are the predictable, programmed responses of the egoic guard, doing the only job it knows how to do: protect the phantom self. So what is the path? Do we declare war on this guard? Do we try to slay the ego? Many have tried. This path only leads to more conflict, because the one who wants to slay the ego is just another, more subtle version of the ego itself. The spiritual ego is the most cunning guard of all. No, the path is not war. It is awareness. You do not fight the guard. You simply build a watchtower. You learn to observe it. You begin to notice its voice, its patterns, as they arise. When you find yourself in a conversation, you start to notice the internal commentator. You hear the voice that is judging, comparing, preparing a rebuttal. You feel the emotional reaction in your body, the defensiveness, the urge to interrupt. And in the noticing, a space is created. For the first time, there is a separation. There is the ego's reaction, and then there is you, the one who is noticing it. You are not the anger. You are the awareness that notices the anger. You are not the thought. You are the silent space in which the thought appears. This is the beginning of freedom. In this space of awareness, you have a choice. You don't have to obey the guard's knee-jerk commands. You can simply watch it. You can even develop a compassionate relationship with it. You can silently say to it, "I see you. I see you are afraid. I see you are trying to protect me based on old programming. Thank you for your service, but in this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I choose to listen. You can stand down. This is not a fight. It is a gentle, compassionate, disarming. You are not killing the guard. You are lovingly retiring him. You are letting him know that the war is over. By ceasing to identify with the ego, you cease to feed it your energy. It no longer runs the show. It may still shout its opinions from the guard tower, but you are no longer its mindless soldier. You are the peaceful king or queen of the inner kingdom, observing the guard's antics with a wise and patient smile. When the guard is no longer in charge, the gate to your garden, the gate to your heart, can finally begin to swing open. And it is through this open gate that we can learn the first true act of connection, the sacred art of listening. With the ego's guard gently disarmed, with the gate to the inner garden now standing open, a new quality of stillness becomes available. The impulse to defend, to project, to assert begins to subside. In this newfound quiet, we can finally begin to practice the first and most fundamental art of connection. This is the art of sacred listening. We must first understand that hearing is not listening. Hearing is a passive biological function, the simple registration of sound waves by the ear. It is automatic, involuntary. A tree falling in the forest makes a sound, and if you are nearby, you will hear it. Listening, however, is a conscious act. It is the choice to focus your attention, to process the sounds into words, to decode their meaning. But sacred listening is a level beyond even that. It is a spiritual practice. It is the act of offering the totality of your presence as a vessel for another's truth. It is not about decoding words, it is about receiving a soul. In a world saturated with noise, with opinions, with everyone broadcasting and so few receiving, the act of truly listening is one of the most radical and healing gifts you can possibly offer. To understand sacred listening, we must first look at what prevents it. We must look at the state of our own mind, which the ancients often compared to the surface of a lake. To accurately reflect the sky, The lake must be perfectly still. If the surface is agitated by wind and choppy waves, the reflection is distorted, fragmented, and untrue. For most of us, our minds are in a perpetual state of turbulence. The first and most relentless disturber of the water is the inner commentator, the lingering voice of the ego. Even with the main guard retired, a subtle narrator remains. As someone speaks, this voice is furiously active. It is judging what is being said. That's a silly idea. I agree with that. She is being too emotional. It is relating everything back to itself. That happened to me once. This reminds me of my own problem. How does this affect me? And most commonly, it is formulating a reply. It is not listening to understand. It is listening to respond. It is sifting through the other person's words, looking for a cue, an entry point for its own story, its own opinion, its own wisdom. The mind is not a silent witness. It is a busy strategist, waiting for a pause in the opponent's speech to launch its own. This is not communication. It is a series of intersecting monologues. The second wave that churns the lake's surface is the impulse of the problem solver, the fixer. When someone shares their pain or confusion, our discomfort with their feelings often triggers a compulsive need to provide a solution. You should do this. Have you tried that? The answer is simple. This impulse rarely comes from a pure place of service. It comes from a desire to alleviate our own anxiety. Their unresolved problem makes us feel anxious, so we offer a solution to make the anxiety go away, for both of us. But in doing so, we invalidate their experience. We implicitly tell them that their feeling of being lost is wrong, that they should already be at the destination. We rob them of the dignity of their own journey, the power of finding their own way. We treat them as a broken machine that needs fixing, not as a sovereign being unfolding in their own time. Sacred listening requires that we abandon the role of the fixer and simply take on the role of the witness. It is the supreme trust in the other person's capacity to find their own answers, if only they are given a safe space in which to hear themselves think. The third, and perhaps most subtle turbulence, is the filter of our own experience. We do not hear what people say. We hear our interpretation of what they say, an interpretation that is colored by the entire history of our own lives. We hear everything through the dense filter of our own wounds, our own joys, our own beliefs. When someone speaks of their betrayal, we don't just hear their story, we feel the echo of our own. When they speak of their dreams, we measure them against our own ambitions and disappointments. We end up having a conversation not with the person in front of us, but with the ghosts of our own past. We are responding to our projections, not to their reality. This is why two people can leave the same conversation with completely different ideas of what was said. The lake of their mind was not clear. It was already filled with their own reflections, and they mistook those reflections for the sky above. Sacred listening is the practice of consciously setting aside our own story, our own filters, to the best of our ability, in order to receive the other's reality as purely as possible. So how do we calm these waters? How do we cultivate the still lake? It is a practice, like meditation. It begins with intention. Before you enter a conversation, you can set a silent intention. For these next moments, my only goal is to be a space of acceptance. My goal is not to fix, advise, or debate. My goal is to understand. This intention acts as a rudder, helping you steer back to stillness when the winds of habit begin to blow. The next step is to anchor yourself in the present moment, and the most reliable anchor you have is your own body. As you listen, feel your feet planted firmly on the ground. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Feel the gentle, rhythmic rising and falling of your own breath. This physical awareness pulls energy away from the frantic, chattering mind. It brings you out of the abstract world of thought and into the solid reality of the now. You are not just a floating mind. You are an embodied presence. When you are anchored in the body, you are less likely to be swept away by the currents of your own mental commentary. From this place of anchored presence, you begin to listen not just with your ears, but with your entire being. You notice the tone of their voice, its pitch and its rhythm. Is it tense? Is it weary? You notice their posture. Are they open and relaxed, or are they closed and guarded? You notice their eyes. What do you see there, beyond the surface? You listen to the words, but you also listen to the spaces between the words. It is often in the pauses, in the hesitation, that the deepest truth resides. A silence can be more eloquent than a paragraph. Learn to become comfortable in that silence. Do not rush to fill it with your own noise. Let their words land in the stillness of your presence. Let them echo. Let the meaning unfold. When you do this, you create a sanctuary. You are no longer just a person in a conversation. You have become a safe harbor. The effect this has on the person speaking is nothing short of miraculous. To be truly witnessed, without judgment, is a profoundly healing experience. In the mirror of your still presence, they begin to see themselves with greater clarity. Unburdened by the need to defend or justify themselves, they can explore the corners of their own heart more honestly. Very often, in the process of being heard so deeply, people stumble upon their own solutions. The answer was within them all along, but it was obscured by their own inner noise. Your silence allows them to hear their own wisdom. This is the ultimate act of empowerment. Furthermore, this act of listening is a powerful form of validation. It communicates more effectively than any words could. You exist. You matter. Your experience, exactly as it is valid. I am here with you in it. This dissolves the shame and isolation that thrive in the darkness of being unseen and unheard. It is a balm for the soul. People will leave your presence feeling not drained, but lighter, clearer, and more connected to themselves. They may not even know why. They will simply know that in your presence, they feel at peace. They will trust you, not for your brilliant advice, but for the quality of your silence, for the gift of your sacred attention. This practice of becoming a still lake for another, of receiving them fully, prepares us to perceive an even more subtle dimension of communication, the silent language that is constantly flowing beneath the surface of all interaction. Having learned to still the waters of the mind, to create a silent, sacred space for another's words to land, you begin to perceive a deeper layer of communication. You notice that information is arriving through channels other than the ears. It is a communication that bypasses language altogether, a truth that is felt before it is understood. This is the unspoken language, the mother tongue of the universe. Every living being, in every moment, is broadcasting its inner state. This broadcast is not made of words, but of energy. It is a complex, subtle, and profoundly honest transmission of who and what they are in that instant. We can call this their energetic signature. To learn to read this signature is to move from simply listening to the melody of a person's words to hearing the entire symphony of their being. It is the next evolution in the art of empathy. What is this energetic signature? It is the sum total of a person's inner world, made manifest as a palpable field of energy. It is the combined resonance of their fleeting emotions, their deeply held beliefs, their physical vitality or exhaustion, and the quiet hum of their spiritual condition. Words can be, and often are, a mask. They are curated, edited, and shaped by the ego to present a certain image to the world. A person can say, "I'm fine," with a convincing smile, but their energetic signature may be screaming with the discordant notes of grief, anxiety, or despair. The energetic signature is the truth behind the performance. Think of it as a piece of music. The words a person uses are the melody, the simple tune you can hum. But the energetic signature is the full orchestration. It is the harmony that tells you if the piece is joyful or melancholic. It is the rhythm that tells you if it is calm or agitated. It is the instrumentation that tells you if it is heavy and dense with brass and percussion, or light and airy with strings and woodwinds. The melody can be simple and cheerful, but if it is played in a minor key with a slow, plodding rhythm, you feel the underlying sadness. The music does not lie. The energy does not lie. Your capacity to feel this orchestration is an innate sense you were born with, a sense that has been muted by a culture that overvalues analytical thought and dismisses intuitive feeling. So how do we perceive this unspoken language? The instrument of perception is not the rational mind. The mind is too slow, too clumsy, and too biased by its own filters. The true instrument is the intelligence of your own body. Your body is a finely tuned resonance chamber, designed to feel and respond to the vibrational information in its environment. Have you ever walked into a room just after an argument has occurred? The air feels thick, heavy, charged with an unpleasant static. No one has said a word, but your body has read the energetic residue. Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt an instant sense of ease and warmth, or conversely, a subtle feeling of wanting to pull back, to protect yourself? This is not a logical deduction. This is your body's direct perception of their energetic signature. We have been taught to dismiss these feelings as irrational, to disregard our gut feelings in favor of what makes logical sense. This is a great tragedy, for in doing so, we have silenced our most honest and reliable guide. Your mind can be deceived, but your body's resonance does not lie. The practice of reading this language is therefore a practice of returning to the body. It is the art of embodied awareness. As you sit with another person, having already stilled your mind, you now consciously bring your awareness to the sensations within your own body. Notice the landscape of your own physical being. Now, notice what changes in the presence of this other person. Do you feel a sense of expansion in your chest, a lightness, an opening? Or do you feel a subtle contraction, a tightening in your stomach or shoulders, a feeling of being drained? Does your own energy level seem to rise, or does it suddenly plummet? These are not random fluctuations, these are data points. Your energetic field is interacting with their energetic field, and your body is the sensitive instrument that registers the results of this interaction. A person whose inner world is full of peace and coherence will often cause your own body to relax and your breathing to deepen. Their symphony is harmonious, and it invites your own system into that harmony. A person who is filled with inner turmoil, anger, or fear is broadcasting a chaotic, dissonant frequency. In their presence, your body may tense up as a natural, protective response to this energetic static. You are not judging them. You are simply reading the information that is being freely offered. The heart, in particular, is a powerful center of this perception. It generates an electromagnetic field that is far more powerful than the brain's, a field that extends several feet out from the body. When you are in proximity to another, your heart fields are literally communicating, exchanging information on a level far deeper than conscious thought. To feel into your heart space, to notice its sense of ease or dis-ease, is to access the central intelligence of your perceptive abilities. Cultivating this energetic literacy is a delicate process. It requires the same stillness we practiced in sacred listening, but directed in a new way. A noisy, agitated system cannot perceive subtle frequencies, just as you cannot hear a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. The foundation is always a return to inner quiet. You must first be familiar with the baseline feeling of your own energy when you are alone and at peace. This is your energetic home base. Only then can you accurately notice how your energy shifts in response to others. You can practice this in low-stakes environments. When you walk into a coffee shop, take a moment. Before you analyze anything, just feel. What is the overall vibration of the space? Is it frantic and hurried, or calm and relaxed. As you walk down the street, notice the subtle, energetic wake left by people who pass by. You are not trying to read their minds or diagnose their problems. You are simply practicing the sense itself, like a muscle being gently exercised. And most importantly, you must learn to trust the first impression. The very first sensation that arises in your body upon meeting someone or entering a space is the purest data. It arrives in the first second or two, before the analytical mind has time to take over, create a story, and start doubting. Oh, I feel a sense of heaviness from this person, but they are smiling, so I must be wrong. Trust the feeling of heaviness. The smile is the melody, the heaviness is the music. Honoring this initial, embodied knowing is the key to reclaiming your intuitive intelligence. This is not a mystical power reserved for a chosen few. It is your birthright. It is a return to a more holistic, more complete way of knowing that our ancestors understood implicitly. It is listening with your skin, with your gut, with the resonant chambers of your own heart. It is a language that cannot be faked and is always true. By becoming fluent in this unspoken tongue, you develop a much deeper, more compassionate understanding of the human condition. You begin to see past the masks people wear, past the stories they tell, and you connect with the truth of their experience. You see the fear behind the anger, the sadness behind the apathy, the longing for connection behind the defensive walls. You see their symphony, and as you become more attuned to the music of others, a startling and profound realization begins to dawn. You start to recognize the tunes. You realize that the symphony of their joy, their pain, their fear, and their love is composed of the very same notes that make up your own. You are looking at a mirror. As you become fluent in the unspoken language, as you learn to feel the symphony of another's being, a profound and startling shift in perception begins to occur. It moves beyond simple understanding and into the realm of recognition. You don't just feel the sadness in another, you recognize it as the same vintage of sadness that has aged in your own heart. You don't just sense their flicker of joy, you recognize it as the same fire that warms your own soul. The line between observer and observed, between self and other, begins to blur and dissolve. It is in this space that you discover the great secret of connection, the law of the universal mirror. The world you perceive is not a collection of separate, disconnected beings. It is a vast and sacred hall of mirrors, and every single person you meet is a reflection of a facet of yourself. This is not a comforting metaphor. It is a fundamental law of consciousness. To grasp it is to begin the end of loneliness forever. The principle is simple, yet its implications are infinite. You cannot perceive a quality in another unless the potential for that same quality exists within you. The recognition of an emotion or a trait in someone else is possible only because the seed of that same emotion or trait resides within your own field of consciousness. Think of it as a form of resonance. A tuning fork designed to vibrate at the frequency of middle C will remain silent in the presence of a high A, but it will begin to hum with resonant energy when it encounters another middle C. In the same way, when you feel another's grief, it is because their energy has struck the tuning fork of grief within you. If you had absolutely no capacity for grief, no memory or potential for it, their sorrow would be unintelligible to you, like a color you cannot see or a sound you cannot hear. Their experience awakens the dormant potential in your own. You are not feeling their sadness, precisely. You are feeling sadness itself, which their presence has activated within your shared human consciousness. This mirroring effect works in both light and shadow, and it is in our reactions to others that we find the most potent clues. Pay close attention to the people who trigger a strong emotional charge in you, whether positive or negative. The person whose arrogance irritates you beyond measure is, in some way, mirroring a disowned aspect of your own ego. Perhaps you have a deep-seated fear of being seen as arrogant, and so you have repressed that part of yourself entirely. Their freedom to express it, however unskillfully, grates against your own self-imposed cage. They are a living, breathing reminder of a part of yourself you have refused to look at. The person whose laziness you judge so harshly may be reflecting your own deep exhaustion and your desperate, unmet need for rest. Your judgment of them is a projection of the harsh inner critic that forbids you from ever stopping. Conversely, the person you deeply admire, whose courage or creativity or compassion inspires you to the point of awe, is mirroring the magnificent potential that lies dormant within you, waiting to be claimed. Their light does not diminish yours. It shows you the brightness of your own capacity. Every strong reaction, positive or negative, is a compass needle pointing directly toward an unexamined part of your own soul. The world becomes your teacher, and every interaction is a lesson. The key to understanding this is to look past the surface details of a person's story and connect with the universal feeling beneath. The specific circumstances of our lives are infinitely varied. One person loses a fortune, another loses a loved one, another loses their health. The stories are different, but the underlying feeling, the raw, primal fear of loss, the gut-wrenching pain of separation is universal. It is the same energy in a different costume. One person finds joy in raising a child, another in creating a piece of art, another in quiet meditation. The expressions are different, but the feeling of expansive, heart-opening joy is the same. When you learn to listen past the story and feel into the universal emotion, the mirror becomes crystal clear. You stop seeing a stranger with a strange problem, and you start seeing a fellow human being experiencing the same spectrum of love, fear, hope, and pain that you do. The details of their story become less important than the shared texture of their humanity. In their fear, you recognize your own fear. In their hope, you recognize your own. The labels that the ego uses to create separation, race, religion, nationality, social status, become thin and transparent. You are looking at another wave in the same ocean, and you realize that the substance of every wave is, and always has been, the water itself. This realization invites a profound inner practice. It is the practice of moving from reaction to reflection. The next time you feel a strong charge towards someone, pause. Instead of focusing your energy outward in the form of judgment or adoration, turn your gaze inward. Ask yourself not, what is wrong with them, or why are they so amazing, but rather, what is this person showing me about myself? What part of me is being activated by their presence? This single shift in questioning transforms the entire dynamic of your life. Every person who crosses your path ceases to be a potential source of conflict or validation and becomes a messenger, a guide sent to help you on your own journey of integration and wholeness. A specific meditative inquiry can be incredibly powerful here. When you encounter another being, you can silently repeat a mantra of recognition. Just like me, this person has known sadness. Just like me, this person has a body that feels pain. Just like me, this person seeks happiness. Just like me, this person is afraid of something. Just like me, this person wants to be loved. This practice is a solvent for the ego. It melts the walls of separation and opens the heart to a deep and abiding compassion that is not based on sentimentality, but on the firm ground of recognition. You begin to look for the universal, innocent intention behind even the most destructive behaviors. The person who lies does so out of a desire to be safe or accepted. The person who attacks does so out of a deep-seated fear. The intention is universal, even if the strategy is flawed. Seeing this innocent root makes true compassion not just possible, but inevitable. As you live in this awareness, the solid-seeming fortress of the separate self begins to feel more like a dream. The chronic, aching feeling of loneliness that haunts so many begins to fade because you see reflections of your own being everywhere you look. How can you be lonely in a world populated by 7 billion mirrors of yourself? Compassion is no longer something you have to try to practice. It is the natural, spontaneous outcome of seeing clearly. To harm another, to judge another, to withhold love from another, becomes a nonsensical act of self-mutilation. You realize you are only ever doing it to yourself. The world itself transforms. It is no longer a cold, competitive arena of separate individuals struggling for survival. It becomes a dynamic, intelligent, and compassionate dance of a single consciousness expressing itself in a glorious multitude of forms. You have finally understood the meaning of the ancient greeting, Namaste. The divine light in me recognizes and bows to the exact same divine light in you. But this profound, heart-opening recognition presents a new and vital challenge. If we are all one, if their pain is our pain, how do we stand in the presence of the world's immense suffering without being utterly consumed by it? How do we hold the pain of another without drowning in it ourselves? This question leads us to a crucial distinction, the difference between being a healing chalice and a porous sponge. The realization of the universal mirror, the profound truth that we are all interconnected, that the other is a reflection of the self, opens the heart to an ocean of cosmic love. But it also opens the soul to an ocean of cosmic pain. If you are to truly feel this connection, you will inevitably stand before the immense suffering of the world and of the individuals in your life. This precipitates the empath's greatest dilemma, a pivotal test of spiritual maturity. When you encounter the pain of another, what is your role? Do you dive into their stormy sea in a desperate attempt to rescue them, only to find yourself drowning alongside them? Or do you become a lighthouse, a steadfast beacon of light and stability on the shore, guiding them with your presence while honoring the power of their own vessel and the lessons of their own journey? This is the fundamental distinction between two archetypes of empathy, the sponge and the chalice. The sponge believes its purpose is to absorb. The chalice understands its purpose is to hold. One path leads to inevitable burnout, resentment, and a loss of self. The other leads to sustainable, effective, and truly transformative healing for both the giver and the receiver. Understanding this distinction is not merely a useful skill, it is essential for anyone who wishes to navigate this world with an open heart and not be destroyed by it. Let us first conduct a compassionate examination of the sponge. If you are a person of deep feeling, chances are you have lived much of your life as one. The intention of the sponge is beautiful and pure. It sees suffering, and its immediate, noble impulse is to take it away. The sponge operates on a flawed but deeply ingrained belief. If I absorb your pain, you will have less of it. I will take your burden upon myself so that you can be free. It is a logic born of love, but a misunderstanding of spiritual and energetic law. Pain is not a finite substance that can be transferred from one person to another like passing a stone. It is a personal, energetic signal, a teacher, a catalyst for growth that belongs to the soul who is experiencing it. To absorb another's pain is not to remove it from the world, it is merely to replicate it within your own system. You have not lessened the world's suffering, you have doubled it. This misguided desire to absorb often stems from an unexamined savior complex, a subtle egoic need to be the one who fixes, the one who heals, the one who is indispensable. It can also be rooted in a deep fear of the raw power of another's emotions. Their intense grief or anger feels threatening, so we absorb it to neutralize it, to bring their state back to something more comfortable for us, all under the guise of helping them. The mechanism of this absorption is a combination of weak energetic boundaries and a lack of a solid inner anchor. The sponge has not yet learned that their energetic field is their own sacred space. The gates to their garden are wide open, and they allow the weather of everyone else's world to become the weather of their own. When a friend expresses anxiety, the sponge's mirror neuron system fires. They feel the anxiety, and because they have no anchor within themselves, they mistake that reflected anxiety for their own. They merge with it. They walk away from a conversation feeling jittery and fearful, carrying a vibration that is not native to their own system. They go through their days like a walking emotional lightning rod, picking up the stray energies in every room, on every bus, in every office. The weight they carry is immense, a heavy cloak woven from the threads of countless other people's struggles. The consequences of living this way are severe and predictable. The most common is empathic burnout. The nervous system is simply not designed to process this much second-hand emotional data. It becomes chronically overloaded, leading to a state of profound exhaustion that no amount of sleep can cure. It is a soul-level fatigue. This is accompanied by a frightening loss of self. The sponge's inner landscape becomes so cluttered with the feelings of others that they can no longer identify their own. They look inside and ask, "What do I feel? What do I want?" And the only answer is a confusing cacophony of other voices, other needs. This loss of an inner compass is disorienting and deeply distressing. And from this place of depletion and confusion, a dark and secret weed begins to grow: resentment. The sponge gives and gives until it is empty, and then it begins to resent the very people it is trying to help. After all I've done for them, after all I've taken on, this resentment is a poison, but it is also a desperate signal from the soul that the current way of being is unsustainable. The final, bitter irony is that the sponge is ultimately ineffective. When you are drowning in another person's emotions, you cannot offer them a lifeline. Your own panic and overwhelm simply add more chaotic energy to their storm. You become a codependent in their drama rather than a catalyst for their healing. To truly serve, you must first learn to be sovereign. You must learn the way of the chalice. The chalice represents an entirely different paradigm of empathetic service. Imagine a sacred cup, perhaps made of gold or carved from ancient stone. It is strong, it is solid, it has a clear and defined form. And its most important quality is that it is empty. The purpose of the chalice is not to become the water, wine, or sacred liquid that is poured into it. Its purpose is to hold it. It provides a container, a sacred space where the liquid can be held, seen, honored, and transformed. The chalice does not judge the liquid. It does not try to change it from water to wine. It does not absorb it and lose its own form. It simply holds. Its strength is in its structure. Its service is in its stillness. This is the art of holding space. You become the container, not the content. You offer the unwavering strength of your presence, your non-reactive awareness, as a sacred vessel in which another person can safely experience and process the full spectrum of their own emotions. Your stability becomes the environment in which they can find their own clarity. To evolve from a sponge to a chalice is a conscious and dedicated practice. It is built upon several foundational pillars. The first and most critical pillar is grounding. You cannot be a stable container if you yourself are not firmly planted. The sponge is ungrounded, floating in the emotional ether. The chalice is deeply rooted. The practice is simple but profound. Wherever you are, feel your feet on the floor. Imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet, down through the concrete, through the soil, deep into the molten core of the earth. Feel the solid, steady, unwavering energy of the planet rising up through these roots, into your body, making you as solid and steadfast as an ancient oak tree. This is your anchor. When another person's emotional storm begins to rage, you feel these roots. They are your connection to stability, to your own sovereign ground. Their wind cannot topple you, because you are rooted in something far larger and more stable than their temporary emotional state. The second pillar is the breath. Your breath is your most immediate and portable anchor to the present moment and to your own life force. When you feel yourself beginning to absorb another's energy, when you feel the familiar pull of their drama, consciously return your awareness to the rhythm of your own breathing. Feel the air enter your nostrils, fill your lungs, and feel it leave. This is your breath. This is your life. Their anxiety is happening over there. Your breath is happening right here. By focusing on this simple, vital rhythm, you reclaim your energetic territory. You are reminding your own system that you are a separate, sovereign being. This conscious breathing maintains the integrity of your container, preventing cracks from forming through which another's energy can leak. The third pillar is compassionate detachment. This is perhaps the most misunderstood concept. Detachment is not indifference or coldness. Indifference is not feeling. Detachment is feeling, but from the seat of the witness, not the seat of the victim. It is the ability to look upon another's pain with infinite love and say, I am here with you. I see this. I honor this. I am not afraid of this, and this pain is not mine to carry. It is the profound wisdom to respect the sacredness of their path. You understand that their pain is their teacher, their karma is their curriculum, and their challenges are their opportunities for soul growth. To try and take that from them is to rob them of their own power and their own lessons. Compassionate detachment is holding their hand as they walk through their fire, not trying to pull them out of it before they have learned what the fire has to teach them. You trust in their strength, even when they have forgotten it. The fourth pillar is the cultivation of a conscious, energetic boundary. This is not an impenetrable wall of armor. A wall blocks everything, including love. A boundary is a selective, intelligent, permeable membrane, like the membrane of a living cell. Imagine a sphere of radiant golden white light surrounding your entire body, about an arm's length out. This is your sacred space. You set the intention that this field of light is permeable to love. Love and compassion can flow freely from you to others. It is also permeable to information. You can still sense and perceive their energetic signature, so you can understand them. But you set the firm intention that any chaotic, heavy, or dissonant energy that is not in alignment with your highest good is not allowed to enter your field. It is met by this membrane of light and is gently neutralized or reflected. You must consciously create and maintain this boundary. It is an act of self-love, and it is this self-love that allows you to continue to love others sustainably. When you embody these pillars, you become the chalice. In action, you are the friend who can sit in complete silence with someone who is grieving, your calm presence, a silent testament to the fact that they are not alone and that their grief is not too much. You are the parent who can hold a screaming child, not reacting to their tantrum, but providing a firm, loving container of safety until their emotional storm passes. You are the healer who can listen to stories of immense trauma and remain a centered, compassionate witness, allowing the other person to finally unburden themselves in a space free of judgment or fear. Your gift is not your advice. Your gift is your stability. Your gift is your emptiness. The healing that occurs is not done by you. It occurs within the other person because for the first time they have been given the space, strength, and safety to finally heal themselves. The evolution from sponge to chalice is a shift from codependent sacrificing to empowered service. It is the realization that the most loving and effective gift you can give another human being is the strength of your own centeredness. You cease to be a participant in their chaos and become a sanctuary for their clarity. By refusing to absorb their pain, you honor their power to transmute it. By maintaining your own light, you provide the beacon that can guide them home. You do not save them. You hold the sacred space in which they finally realize they have the power to save themselves, and that is the highest form of empathy there is. To embody the strength and grace of the chalice, requires the cultivation of a specific, refined inner posture. It is a state of being that is often misunderstood, a paradox that can seem impossible to the untrained mind. This is the state of compassionate detachment. The words themselves seem to be in opposition. Compassion implies connection, warmth, feeling with another. Detachment implies separation, coolness, a stepping back. How can one possibly embody both at the same time? This is not a contradiction, it is a higher synthesis. It is the delicate, dynamic balance between a fully open heart and a clear, sovereign mind. It is the essential path of the healer, the guide, the conscious parent, and the true friend. To master this art is to learn how to love another person fully without losing yourself, and how to offer the purest, most effective form of service without attachment to the outcome. Before we can understand what compassionate detachment is, we must be absolutely clear about what it is not. The ego, in its fear, will often misinterpret this concept to justify its own patterns of avoidance and defense. Firstly, compassionate detachment is not indifference. Indifference is a closed heart. It is a wall built to block out feeling, a declaration that your pain does not matter to me. It is a state of numbness. Compassionate detachment, by contrast, requires a heart that is courageously and radically open. It feels everything. It says, "Your pain matters to me deeply. I see it, I honor it, and I am willing to be present with you in the heart of it." Indifference pushes away. Compassionate detachment allows everything to be as it is, without resistance. Secondly, it is not avoidance. Avoidance is the act of running away from discomfort. When another's emotions become too intense, the avoider will change the subject, make a joke, or physically leave the room. They are unable to tolerate the intensity of the feeling, either in the other person or in themselves. Compassionate detachment is the very opposite. It is the strength to stay. It is the capacity to sit in the fire of intense emotion, grief, rage, despair without being consumed by it, and without needing to extinguish it. It is a stable, unwavering presence that communicates, "I am not afraid of your feelings. You are safe to feel whatever you need to feel." Avoidance is driven by fear. Compassionate detachment is rooted in courage. Finally, it is not superiority. Sometimes, in spiritual circles, detachment is worn as a badge of honor, a sign of being above the messy dramas of human emotion. This is not detachment, it is arrogance. It is the ego looking down from its self-constructed pedestal, judging the struggles of others as somehow less evolved. This is a cold, sterile posture that creates more separation. True compassionate detachment is born of profound humility. It is the humble recognition that you do not have the answers for another person's life. It is the deep, reverent respect for the sacredness and complexity of their individual soul journey. It does not place you above them, it places you beside them as a silent, supportive fellow traveler. So what then is this synthesis? It is the marriage of two distinct yet complementary faculties of your being, the heart and the mind, compassion and wisdom. The compassion component is the work of the open heart. It is the ability to feel with another. It is powered by the realization of the universal mirror we have already explored. You look at the person before you, and you see yourself. You feel their struggle as a shared human experience. This is what allows you to connect, to offer genuine warmth, to validate their reality, to create a field of love and acceptance. This is the part that says, "You are not alone." This is the compassion. The detachment component, however, is the work of the clear, wise mind. This is the faculty that understands the larger spiritual context. It is the part of you that knows, on a level deeper than emotion, that every soul has its own unique curriculum. It understands that struggle is not a mistake. It is very often the curriculum itself. It is the catalyst for growth. the pressure that creates the diamond. The wise mind knows that you cannot do another person's spiritual work for them, just as you cannot lift weights for them and expect them to build muscle. To interfere with their process, to try and rescue them from a lesson their soul has chosen to learn, is not an act of kindness. It is an act of profound disrespect for their autonomy and power. This is the detachment. It is not detached from the person, it is detached from the outcome. Think of the master surgeon. Her compassion is what motivates her to heal. She cares deeply about alleviating the patient's suffering, but when she holds the scalpel, her hand cannot tremble with the patient's pain or fear. Her effectiveness, her very ability to heal, depends on a calm, focused, skilled detachment. Her heart is engaged, but her mind is clear and steady. This is the posture of the compassionate healer. The compassion provides the why. The detachment provides the how. The most difficult part of this practice lies in releasing your attachment to a specific result. The ego is deeply invested in outcomes. It wants to see results. It wants to be validated as a successful helper. It wants the person to stop crying, to take the advice, to feel better now, so that the ego can feel good about itself. To practice compassionate detachment, you must become a detective of your own attachments. In any interaction, ask yourself honestly, what am I attached to here? Am I attached to being seen as wise? Am I attached to them following my plan for their life? Am I attached to them liking me and being grateful? Is my desire for them to feel better more about my comfort than theirs? Once you identify the attachment, you can practice the art of surrender. This is an active release. You can create a simple mantra for yourself, a silent prayer that you repeat in your heart as you are with the person. I offer my presence, my love, and my support without condition. I release all attachment to the outcome. I trust in the wisdom of your soul and your unique path. This prayer is a powerful act of energetic hygiene. It purifies your intention, shifting it from control to service, from ego to love. It frees you from the exhausting burden of being responsible for another person's life. Your focus shifts entirely. Your goal is no longer to manage their progress. Your goal is to perfect the quality of your presence. You become the mountain, solid, majestic, and unchanging, while their emotions are the weather that swirls around you. You can witness the thunderstorms, the fog, the brilliant sunshine, and the blizzards of their experience, all while remaining firmly rooted in your own being. You are the stable element in their turbulent world. This is the freedom of true service. Compassionate detachment is not a withdrawal of your love. It is the purification of it. It is love freed from the ego's needy, grasping agenda. This pure, unconditional, and unwavering presence is the most potent healing force you can possibly offer. It creates a space in which the other person feels safe enough and respected enough to access their own inner wisdom. It empowers them rather than making them dependent on you. It allows you to serve from a place of fullness and strength rather than from a place of depletion and sacrifice. It is the only way to keep your heart open to a world of pain and not be shattered by it. But even with this noble posture, the mind will still present one of its most persistent temptations, the seductive and powerful impulse to simply fix it all. Having cultivated the steady presence of the chalice and the wise perspective of compassionate detachment, we encounter one of the most powerful and persistent temptations on the spiritual path: the impulse to fix. It arises with the force of instinct, often cloaked in the virtuous robes of kindness and care. You see a friend struggling with a decision, and your mind immediately generates a 10-point plan for them. You listen to a loved one's pain, and you are already formulating the advice that will solve their problem. You see a flaw in another's life, and you feel a deep, compelling urge to correct it. This desire to be the savior, the rescuer, the fixer feels so right, so helpful. And yet, it is one of the most profound and subtle fallacies of the ego, a barrier that stands directly in the way of true empathetic service and the empowerment of others. To resist this impulse is to practice a higher form of love, one rooted not in control, but in trust. To understand why we must resist this urge, we must first unmask it. We must have the courage to look beneath the surface of our good intentions and examine the true roots of the fixing impulse. More often than not, we find that the drive to fix another person is less about them and more about us. One of the primary drivers is our own deep discomfort with messiness. We crave order, resolution, and neat narratives. The presence of another person's unresolved pain, their confusion, their grief, creates a sense of dissonance in us. It is an untidy variable in our reality. Offering a solution is an attempt to quickly clean up this emotional mess, to restore a sense of order and control, primarily so that we can feel more comfortable. We are not soothing their pain. We are soothing our own anxiety about their pain. Furthermore, the role of the fixer is deeply satisfying to the ego. It is a subtle but potent power play. When you are the one with the answers and they are the one with the problem, an implicit hierarchy is established. You are positioned as the wise, capable, and strong one. They are positioned as the confused, incapable, and weak one. This feeds the ego's insatiable need to feel important, competent, and valuable. We become addicted to being needed. Our sense of self-worth becomes entangled with our ability to solve other people's problems. We may not admit it consciously, but there is a part of us that enjoys being the repository of wisdom, the hero who rides in to save the day. This is not service. It is self-aggrandizement disguised as altruism. Paradoxically, the rush to fix can also be a sophisticated strategy to avoid true empathy. To truly be with someone in their darkness, to hold space for their despair without flinching, as the chalice does, requires immense inner strength and stillness. It is demanding work. It can be painful. Offering a quick solution, a piece of advice, or a cheerful platitude is a convenient escape hatch. It allows us to feel that we have fulfilled our duty as a friend or helper without having to actually descend into the messy reality of their experience. We put a bandage on the wound so we don't have to look at it. We offer a map so we don't have to walk with them through the terrifying, uncharted territory. It is a way of keeping a safe, clinical distance from the raw, unpredictable nature of another soul's unfolding. The consequences of this behavior, however well-intentioned, are profoundly damaging. The most immediate is the disempowerment of the very person we are trying to help. Every time we rush in with a solution, we are sending a powerful, unspoken message. You are not capable of figuring this out on your own. Your own wisdom is insufficient. You need me to navigate your life. Over time, this erodes the other person's self-confidence and self-trust. They begin to doubt their own inner compass and become dependent on our guidance. We are not helping them grow stronger. We are fostering a learned helplessness that keeps them small and reliant. More tragically, we are interrupting a sacred and necessary process. A soul's journey is not meant to be a straight, easy line from A to B. It is an organic, often cyclical process of growth. The periods of confusion, of struggle, of feeling lost in the dark are not mistakes. They are essential phases of incubation. Think of a butterfly struggling to emerge from its chrysalis. A well-meaning person might see this struggle and, wanting to help, carefully snip the chrysalis open. The butterfly would emerge easily, but its wings would be weak and unformed. It would fall to the ground and die, never knowing the freedom of flight. The desperate struggle to break free is precisely what pushes fluid into the butterfly's wings, giving them the strength they need to fly. To fix the struggle is to destroy the potential. When we solve another's problem for them, we are tearing open their chrysalis. we are robbing them of the very struggle that is meant to forge their strength, their wisdom, and their resilience. We deny them the profound satisfaction of their own breakthrough. The wiser path is to learn to shift from the role of fixer to the role of facilitator. A facilitator does not provide answers. They create an environment where the other person can discover their own. This shift begins with changing the nature of your response. Instead of offering statements, learn to ask powerful, open-ended questions. When a friend says, "I don't know what to do," resist the urge to say, "Here's what you should do." Instead, ask with genuine curiosity, what does this confusion feel like in your body? What is your deepest fear in this situation? If you imagine all opinions and advice disappearing, what does your own quietest voice tell you? These questions act as a gentle hand, turning their gaze away from you and back toward their own inner well of wisdom. You are empowering them by showing that you believe the answer resides within them. Your role is not to give them your map. Your role is to hold up a clean mirror. The mirror is your calm, non-reactive, listening presence. In this mirror, free from your judgments, opinions, and solutions, they can finally see their own situation and themselves with startling clarity. They hear themselves talk, and in the safety of your presence, they begin to untangle their own thoughts. The greatest gift you can give someone is the experience of their own clarity. This requires a profound level of trust. You must trust in their resilience. You must trust that they are the world's foremost expert on their own life. You must trust that their soul has a deeper wisdom than your intellect. You must trust the process of their unfolding, even when it looks messy, even when they seem to be moving backward. This trust is palpable. When you truly trust another person's capacity, they begin to feel it and trust themselves more too. Resisting the savior complex is an act of supreme respect. It is the understanding that you are not the hero of anyone else's story. Your desire to be the hero is your own ego's drama. The most empowering, loving, and truly helpful thing you can do is to step aside. You let go of the need to be their savior so that they can discover the savior within themselves. You are not abandoning them. You are standing beside them, a quiet, powerful presence, holding the unwavering belief in their strength until they can hold it for themselves. This is the foundation of true support. It is a love that liberates, not binds. It is a help that strengthens, not weakens. And it is this profound trust in the inherent rightness of another's being that paves the way for the ultimate state of empathetic grace, radical acceptance. Having laid down the heavy burden of the Savior, having chosen to honor the sacred journey of others, we arrive at the very bedrock of inner freedom. This is the practice of radical acceptance. It is the final and most profound cessation of hostility, not with any person or circumstance, but with reality itself. For most of our lives, we are engaged in a constant, exhausting, and unwinnable war with what is. We argue with the past, wishing it had been different. We fight with the present, insisting it should not be this way. We rail against the fundamental nature of other people, demanding they be someone they are not. This internal war is the source of nearly all our suffering. Radical acceptance is the conscious, courageous, and liberating decision to declare a unilateral peace treaty. It is the simple, yet revolutionary, act of dropping your weapons and allowing reality to be exactly as it is. To truly embrace this practice, we must first dismantle the ego's formidable wall of misunderstandings about it. The mind hears acceptance and immediately leaps to false conclusions, for it fears that in acceptance it will lose its power. First and most importantly, acceptance is not approval. To radically accept that someone has betrayed you does not mean you condone betrayal. To accept a painful diagnosis does not mean you are happy about it. To accept that a relationship has ended does not mean you believe it was a good thing. Acceptance is not a moral judgment or an emotional endorsement. It is a simple, clear-eyed acknowledgement of fact. It is looking at the reality of the present moment without blinking and saying, "This is what is true right now." The war is not with the event itself, but with the wish that the event were not so. Acceptance ends that specific war. Secondly, and this is the greatest hurdle for many, acceptance is not passivity or resignation. We fear that if we accept a difficult situation, we will lose all motivation to change it. We believe that resistance is what fuels action. But this is a profound illusion. Resistance is a form of energetic paralysis. Imagine being lost in a dense forest. If you refuse to accept that you are lost, if you stand in one spot insisting, "I should not be here, this is not the right place," you cannot take a single effective step. Your energy is consumed by the argument. It is only when you radically accept your current position. "Okay, I am here, in this spot, in this forest," that you are free to pull out your compass, observe the sun, and begin making intelligent choices about which way to go. All effective action begins from a place of clear, non-negotiable acceptance of the current reality. Resistance keeps you stuck in the problem. Acceptance is the solid ground from which you can begin to create a solution. Finally, radical acceptance is not a one-time event, a finish line you cross into a permanent state of bliss. It is an ongoing practice, a muscle you must build, a choice that must be made again and again, moment by moment. It is easy to accept reality when things are going your way. The true practice begins when pain arises, when loss occurs, when people disappoint you. In these moments, the habit of resistance will surge with incredible force. The practice is to notice that surge, to feel the familiar clenching of the inner fist, and to consciously, gently choose to open it. To understand the power of this practice, we can look at the physics of human suffering through a simple, elegant equation. Suffering equals pain multiplied by resistance. In this equation, pain is an inevitable and unavoidable part of the human experience. There will be loss, sickness, disappointment, and heartbreak. This is the clean, pure, physical or emotional sensation that arises in response to life's events. It is a given. The second variable, resistance, is purely internal. It is the mental and emotional fight against the pain. It is the story we tell ourselves about the pain. It is the "this shouldn't be happening," the "why me," the blame, the victimhood, the endless loop of wishing things were different. This resistance acts as a multiplier. If you have a unit of pain and zero resistance, your suffering is zero. You simply have clean pain, which, like any sensation, will arise, crest, and pass. But if you have a unit of pain and you add 10 units of resistance, you now have 10 units of sticky, prolonged, and agonizing suffering. The original pain is buried under layers of mental anguish. Radical acceptance is the practice of systematically reducing the resistance variable in your life. It is the choice to stop pouring fuel on the fire of your own pain. When you can meet your pain with acceptance, it remains just that, clean pain. It can be felt fully, honored, and allowed to move through you, leaving you wiser and more compassionate in its wake. The practice itself begins in the body, for the body is where resistance lives. Notice, when a difficult emotion or situation arises, how your body physically clenches. Your jaw tightens, your shoulders hunch, your stomach knots, your breath becomes shallow. This is the physical armor of no. It is the body bracing for a fight with reality. The first step of acceptance is to consciously soften this armor. As you breathe, intentionally relax your jaw, drop your shoulders, breathe deeply into your belly. This physical act of letting go sends a powerful signal to your nervous system that you are no longer at war. From this place of physical softening, you can introduce a silent internal mantra. When the wave of a difficult feeling comes, instead of the automatic inner recoil of no, 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 you practice gently whispering, yes, yes, this feeling of fear is present. Yes, this deep sadness is here now. Yes, this is the reality of this moment. This is not a yes of resigned defeat. It is a courageous, powerful yes of acknowledgement. It is the welcome you extend to all of reality, not just the parts you like. Think of the mighty oak tree, a symbol of strength and rigidity. In a great storm, it resists the wind with all its force. And because of this very resistance, it can be shattered and broken. Now, think of the supple willow. It does not fight the wind, it bends with it. It accepts its power and allows it to pass through, and in doing so, it remains whole. Radical acceptance is the art of learning to be the willow. It is the discovery that true strength lies not in rigidity and resistance, but in flexibility and yielding. You yield to the reality of the moment, not because you are weak, but because you are wise enough not to waste your energy on an unwinnable fight. Ultimately, radical acceptance is not about changing the world or other people. It is about ending the civil war within yourself. This cessation of inner conflict is the only true foundation for peace. When you stop fighting with reality, a profound silence and clarity emerge. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances, but a conscious participant in them. You are free. And this inner state of freedom, this profound peace, is not a passive condition. It radiates from you. It changes your energetic signature from one of friction and struggle to one of grace and flow. Your peaceful presence itself becomes a powerful, silent action in the world, a testament to the possibility of living in harmony with all that is. Emerging from the quiet surrender of radical acceptance, you find yourself on new ground. The frantic internal engine that was constantly striving, resisting, and arguing with reality has quieted. The compulsive need to do something about everything begins to dissolve. In the stillness that remains, you discover a power far more subtle and infinitely more potent than any action you could ever take. You discover the power of your own presence. In a society that is hypnotized by the tyranny of doing, a world that measures your worth by your productivity, your accomplishments, your ability to solve problems, the most revolutionary act is to reclaim the profound power of simply being. We have been taught that our presence is a passive, empty space, a prelude to the important work of action. The truth is the reverse. Your state of presence is the most powerful action you can take. It is a silent, energetic broadcast that can heal, soothe, and transform the world around you without a single word uttered or a single finger lifted. To understand this, we must grasp the physics of presence. Your inner state is not a private affair, contained neatly within the borders of your skin. You are a living, breathing transmitter, and your state of consciousness is the frequency you are constantly broadcasting into the world. When your mind is a turbulent storm of anxiety, judgment, and fear, you are transmitting a chaotic, dissonant signal. People feel this. They may not know what it is, but they feel a sense of unease, agitation, or a need to withdraw from you. Conversely, when you have cultivated a state of inner peace, a state of grounded, open, non-reactive awareness, you transmit a coherent, harmonious, and stable frequency. This signal is not just a pleasant feeling, it is an active force in the environment. This force operates on the principle of resonance. Imagine two guitars sitting side by side. If you pluck the E string on one guitar, the E string on the second guitar will begin to vibrate softly in sympathy without ever being touched. It has been brought into resonance by the coherent frequency of the first string. Human energy fields work in precisely the same way. A person who is consumed by chaos, whose inner world is a storm of reactivity, is like a wildly out-of-tune instrument. When they come into contact with a person who is abiding in a state of deep, centered presenza, person who is like a perfectly tuned instrumenta, subtle energetic exchange occurs. The calm, coherent field of the present individual does not force the other to change. It simply holds its own frequency, its own clear note. And by its very nature, this clear note acts as an invitation, a powerful resonant pull that allows the chaotic system to begin to reorganize itself. It is a process of entrainment. The stormy energy of the other person, in the presence of your great stillness, naturally begins to settle. Think of the sun. The sun does not struggle or strain to make a flower grow. It does not send down tendrils to pull the sprout from the earth. It does not issue commands or offer advice. The sun simply shines. It is the embodiment of pure, unwavering, unconditional presence. And in the radiance of that presence, the flower, according to its own innate intelligence, uncurls its leaves, strengthens its stem, and opens its petals. The sun's being is its action. Its presence is the condition for growth. To cultivate a healing presence in the world is to learn to be like the sun. You cease your frantic efforts to fix, manage, and control the lives of others, the flowers in the garden of the world. Instead, you turn your attention inward and focus on the quality of your own light. Your primary work is to tend to your own inner state, to become a source of steady, unconditional, peaceful presence. In doing so, you become a sanctuary, and healing happens organically in your vicinity, often without you even knowing it. This healing presence is not merely the absence of negativity. It has distinct, palpable qualities that we must consciously cultivate. The first quality is emptiness. This is the quality of the chalice. It is a presence that is empty of an agenda. It is not trying to get anything, change anything, or prove anything. It is free from the ego's need to be right, to be helpful, or to be seen in a particular way. Because it is empty, it has infinite space to hold the reality of another. It does not react. It simply allows. This non-reactive quality is profoundly calming to another person's nervous system, as it communicates on a primal level that this is a safe space, free from the threat of judgment or expectation. The second quality is stillness. This is not a forced, rigid stillness, but a deep, grounded, and vital quietude. It is the stillness of the mountain that witnesses the passing weather without becoming the weather. This presence is deeply anchored in the body, rooted in the earth. You can feel it in a person who is not lost in their thoughts, but is fully inhabiting their physical form. Their energy is not scattered and frantic. It is collected, centered, and solid. This profound stillness provides a sense of stability and safety that is extraordinarily rare in the modern world. It is a silent rock in the middle of a swirling river, an anchor point that allows others to find their own footing. The third quality is unconditional acceptance. A healing presence radiates the silent yes of radical acceptance. Without a word, it communicates to everyone and everything it encounters. You are welcome here, exactly as you are. Your joy is welcome. Your pain is welcome. Your confusion is welcome. Your light is welcome. Your darkness is welcome. When people feel this unconditional welcome, they instinctively relax. The deep, unconscious need to perform, to pretend, to wear a mask dissolves. In the safety of your accepting presence, they are given the rare and precious gift of being able to be utterly, authentically themselves. And it is in this state of authenticity that their own inner healing intelligence can finally begin to work. Therefore, your spiritual practice shifts. Your primary goal in any interaction is no longer, what should I do here? But rather, what is the quality of my being right now? Your state of consciousness becomes your first and most important offering. This practice is built in the micro moments of everyday life. It is the choice to feel your breath moving in your chest while you listen to your child. It is the choice to feel your feet on the ground as you wait for the elevator. It is the conscious return, again and again, from the world of thought to the world of being. This does not mean you become a passive observer who never acts. It means that when you do choose to act, your action arises from a place of profound stillness and clarity, not from anxious reactivity. An action born of being is surgical in its precision and power, while an action born of reactivity is clumsy and often creates more problems than it solves. In a world that is screaming for answers, for fixes, for grand gestures, perhaps the most profound solution you can offer is the silent sanctuary of your own peaceful presence. It is your ultimate gift. It is the action of your being. It requires nothing from you but your own inner work, and yet it offers everything to the world. But this state of powerful, radiant presence is also a luminous beacon. It can attract those who would seek to drain its light. To offer this gift sustainably, to be a sun and not a meteor that burns out, you must learn how to protect your energy. You must learn the art of creating sacred boundaries. Your presence, when cultivated from a place of inner stillness and acceptance, becomes a light in the world. It is a silent, powerful gift. But a light that shines brightly in the darkness will inevitably attract attention. Your peace will feel like a sanctuary to those in turmoil. Your fullness will feel like a well to those who are empty. This is beautiful, but it also presents a profound challenge. The path of the open heart is not a path of defenselessness. A garden with no fence will be trampled. A house with no door will be overrun. The paradox of spiritual maturity is this: to keep your heart truly, sustainably open, you must learn to build a sacred and fiercely protected boundary around it. The practice of setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness or rejection. It is the ultimate act of self-respect, the highest form of stewardship for your own energy, and the non-negotiable prerequisite for a lifetime of compassionate service. For so many, on a path of consciousness and care, the very idea of a boundary feels wrong. It seems to contradict the teachings of oneness, compassion, and unconditional love. This resistance is deep, and we must examine its roots with compassion before we can gently pull them out. One of the deepest roots is a primal fear of rejection and abandonment. For many of us, our childhood conditioning taught us a dangerous equation. Being helpful and compliant equals love and safety. Saying no, having our own needs, or disagreeing with a caregiver may have resulted in disapproval, anger, or the withdrawal of affection. As adults, this translates into a subconscious belief that our survival depends on being endlessly agreeable and available. The thought of saying no triggers a primal panic, a fear that if we are not useful, we will be cast out, we will be alone. This fear is often layered with a thick coating of guilt. We have been taught that a good or spiritual person is selfless. We have internalized the belief that prioritizing our own needs, our own rest, our own peace, is an act of selfishness. We look at a friend in need and think, how can I possibly say no when they are suffering? We sacrifice our own well-being on the altar of another's comfort, believing this is noble. But this is a profound misunderstanding of spiritual law. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. To continually give away your energy without replenishing it is not generosity. It is a slow form of self-annihilation. The most responsible and loving thing you can do for the world is to be a good steward of your own life force. To protect your energy is to ensure you have a lifetime of genuine, vibrant energy to offer, rather than a few short years of resentful, depleted service. This resistance is further complicated by the patterns we have already explored. The ego, identified with the role of the savior, panics at the thought of a boundary because if it cannot fix someone, its identity is threatened. The empath, who has mistaken their gift for a duty to feel everything, fears that a boundary will cut them off from the information and connection they crave. But a boundary does not block your empathy, it refines it. It allows you to perceive the information from another's field without that information hijacking your own nervous system. It is the difference between reading a book about a storm and standing in the storm itself. You can still have a perfect, compassionate understanding of the storm from a place of safety. To build this sacred boundary is a multi-layered practice, encompassing the energetic, the physical, and the emotional. The first and most subtle layer is the energetic boundary. This is your first line of defense, the invisible, semi-permeable membrane that surrounds your personal space. It is cultivated through clear intention and visualization. Take a moment now. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Imagine a radiant sphere of brilliant golden white light completely surrounding your body, extending about an arm's length out in all directions. See it, feel it. It is vibrant, strong, and intelligent. Now, set the intention for this field. You can say silently in your heart, "This field of light is my sacred space. It is permeable to all forms of love, compassion, and high vibrational energy. Love flows freely out, and love flows freely in. However, any energy that is not aligned with my highest good, any fear, chaos, psychic debris, or emotional dumping is not permitted to enter. It is gently and lovingly neutralized by this light upon contact." Practice this visualization every morning before you begin your day. Consciously feel this bubble of light around you as you walk through the world. This is not a wall of fear. It is a membrane of wisdom. It is the loving act of defining where you end and another begins. The next layer is the physical and temporal boundary. This is where the energetic intention becomes manifest in the real world. This is about honoring your body and your time as sacred vessels. Your body has finite energy. Your day has finite hours. A sacred boundary means you stop treating these resources as endlessly available to others. This is the practice of saying no. It is saying no to the social engagement that you know will drain you. It is saying no to the extra project at work when you are already at your limit. It is saying no to a friend's request for a 2-hour phone call when you only have the capacity for 20 minutes. For many, the word no is the hardest word in the language. We are taught to soften it, to apologize for it, to explain it away. The practice here is to learn to offer a clean, kind, and firm no. You do not need to justify, argue, defend, or explain. Phrases like, "Thank you so much for the invitation, but I won't be able to make it," or "I appreciate you thinking of me for this, but I don't have the capacity to take that on right now," are complete. You are not rejecting the person. You are honoring your own reality. Scheduling time for solitude, for rest, for doing nothing is not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable part of this practice. It is how you replenish the well. The third layer is the emotional boundary. This is the internal skill of differentiating your feelings from the feelings of others. This is the core practice of the chalice. Even with a strong energetic boundary, you will still perceive the emotions of others. The emotional boundary is the skill of not absorbing them. It is an internal check-in. When a strong or uncomfortable emotion arises, especially in the presence of another person, you pause and ask your inner wisdom, "Is this feeling mine?" Take a breath and wait for the answer. Often, your body will give you a clear sense of yes or no. If the answer is no, you can acknowledge the feeling without identifying with it. You can silently say, "I am sensing a great deal of anxiety right now. This is the energy of the person I am with. It is not my own. I can witness it without merging with it." This simple act of differentiation is profoundly powerful. It stops the chain reaction of emotional contagion and allows you to remain a calm anchor in their storm. Finally, all these layers are supported by the verbal boundary. This is how you communicate your reality to others. A loving verbal boundary is clear, direct, and respectful. It is not aggressive or angry, though it may be firm. It is stating your needs and your limits simply. I can talk for a few more minutes, but then I need to go. I feel uncomfortable when you speak to me in that tone of voice. I need you to stop. I am not willing to discuss that topic. A healthy boundary is communicated before resentment has a chance to build. When you wait until you are angry and depleted, your boundary will come out as an attack. But when you state it from a place of centered self-respect, it is received as a simple statement of fact. It teaches people how you wish to be treated. In the end, a boundary is not a wall that says, "Go away." A sacred boundary is a clear and loving statement that says, "This is the line where I end and you begin. I honor my space, and I honor yours." If you wish to connect with me, this is the respectful and healthy way to do it. It is an invitation into a higher form of relationship, one based on mutual respect, not on codependent need. Those who are not capable of honoring your boundary are showing you that they are not capable of a healthy relationship with you at this time. That is valuable information. Those who can respect it will find that your presence is a place of safety, clarity, and trust, because your yes is a true, wholehearted yes, and your no is a clean, honest no. There are no hidden resentments, no secret costs. By protecting your inner garden, you ensure that its beauty and nourishment are not a fleeting resource, but a sustainable wellspring of life. It is this act of sacred protection that makes a lifetime of open-hearted, compassionate, and joyful service not only possible, but inevitable. Now that you have learned to define and protect your sacred space, you are ready for one of the most profound acts of inner alchemy. You are ready to address the toxic residues that may still be stored within your sanctuary from past incursions. Of all the burdens we carry, the heaviest is unforgiveness. It is a dense, stagnant energy, a poison we willingly drink every day, hoping it will somehow harm our enemy. It is an energetic chain that binds us not to the person who harmed us, but to the moment of our deepest pain. We believe that holding on to our grievance is a way of holding them accountable, a way of preserving justice. But the only person we are holding prisoner is ourselves. Forgiveness, then, is not the benevolent, saintly gift we bestow upon the one who wronged us. It is the gritty, courageous, and pragmatic act of self-liberation. It is the choice to love our own peace more than we love our own pain. To walk the path of forgiveness, we must first clear away the dense thicket of misconceptions that surrounds it. The mind, in its desire to protect us and to hold on to its identity as the one who was wronged, will present a powerful case against forgiving. It is essential that we see these arguments for the illusions they are. First, and most critically, forgiveness is not condoning. To forgive a heinous act does not, for one moment, mean you are saying the act was acceptable. It does not excuse the behavior. It does not erase its wrongness. It is simply the choice to release the toxic, emotional charge that you are carrying in relation to that act. It is the decision to no longer allow that past event to contaminate the present moment. You can forgive someone completely while still holding the clear and unwavering knowledge that what they did was profoundly wrong. Secondly, forgiveness is not forgetting. The phrase "forgive and forget" is a dangerous platitude. To forget a painful lesson, to erase the memory of a betrayal or a danger, would be unwise. The memory remains as a source of wisdom, a teacher that helps you navigate the world with greater discernment. Forgiveness does not delete the memory. It neutralizes its poison. It is like remembering that you once touched a hot stove. You don't forget the event. That memory is what keeps you from touching it again. But you are no longer consumed by the searing pain of the burn in the present moment. The pain has subsided, but the wisdom remains. Forgiveness allows you to retain the lesson while releasing the trauma. Furthermore, forgiveness is not reconciliation. This is a vital distinction. You do not have to speak to the person again. You do not have to allow them back into your life, your home, or your heart. Forgiveness is a purely internal process. It happens entirely within the landscape of your own consciousness, for your benefit alone. In fact, often the wisest course of action, an expression of healthy boundaries and self-love, is to forgive someone from a great distance, choosing to never have contact with them again. You can wish them well on their journey, release them from the energetic debt they owe you, and simultaneously bolt the door to prevent them from ever causing harm again. The two actions are not mutually exclusive. They are often partners in true healing. And this leads to the most liberating truth of all. Forgiveness is not for them, it is entirely for you. We cling to unforgiveness, thinking it is a weapon we are pointing at the other person, but the barrel is curved, and it is pointed directly at our own heart. They may have moved on. They may be unaware of or indifferent to our suffering. The only person guaranteed to be affected by the poison of our resentment is us. To forgive is to make the conscious choice to stop drinking that poison. It is to prioritize your own health, your own sanity, your own freedom. It is the ultimate act of reclaiming your power from the person and the event that wounded you. To understand the urgency of this, we must feel the true cost of unforgiveness. When you hold a grudge, you are creating a potent, low-frequency, energetic state within your own body. Resentment, bitterness, and the desire for revenge are not abstract concepts. They are biochemical realities. They trigger the chronic release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, keeping your body in a perpetual state of fight or flight. This state weakens your immune system, disrupts your digestion, and exhausts your nervous system. You are, quite literally, making yourself sick with the energy of your own anger. Beyond the physical, unforgiveness creates a powerful, energetic cord that tethers you to the past. Imagine a thick, heavy chain running from your solar plexus directly to the person or event that hurt you. Every day, a significant portion of your precious, finite life force energy leaks out through this chain, feeding a past that can never be changed. This is why holding a grudge is so exhausting. You are trying to live your present life on a fraction of your available power, because the rest is being perpetually siphoned away to keep a dead memory alive. You are not free. You are anchored to your own history. Unforgiveness is allowing someone to live rent-free in the sacred space of your mind, consuming your thoughts and poisoning your peace. The path to liberation, then, is a gentle internal process of releasing this burden. It cannot be forced or rushed. It begins not with a demand, but with an acknowledgement. You must first grant yourself the space to feel the full depth of your wound. You must honor your anger. You must grieve the loss, the betrayal, the injustice. True forgiveness is not possible from a place of spiritual bypassing, of pretending you are above the pain. You must go down into the valley of your grief and allow it to be what it is. You cannot release what you have not first fully owned. After you have honored the pain, the next step is a conscious choice. Forgiveness rarely begins as a feeling, it begins as a decision. It is the decision that your freedom is more important than your grievance. It is the choice to no longer be defined by what was done to you. You may not feel ready, you may not know how. That is perfectly fine. The only thing required to begin is a flicker of willingness. You can start by simply saying to yourself, "For the sake of my own peace, for the sake of my own health, I am willing to begin the process of forgiving." This willingness is the key that unlocks the prison door from the inside. With this willingness as your guide, you can begin to see the situation in a new light. See the grudge as an energetic debt. The other person owes you an apology, remorse, or justice that they may never be able to pay. You are the creditor, waiting endlessly for a payment that will not come, and your waiting is causing you immense suffering. Forgiveness is the act of debt cancellation. You, the person with all the power in this transaction, consciously choose to declare the debt null and void. You write "paid in full" across the ledger, not because they have earned it, but because you are no longer willing to be a debt collector. You release them from the obligation, and in doing so, you release yourself. You can visualize cutting the energetic chain that binds you to them, watching it fall away. You consciously call all of your energy, all of your power, back from the past, back into your own heart, here in the present moment. This is the ultimate reclamation of your power. Forgiveness is the final deep cleaning of your inner sanctuary. It is the sweeping out of old ghosts and the casting out of toxic tenants. It is the act of making your inner world a place of pure, unburdened peace. When you release the chains of the past, you become light, you become free, you become fully available to the beauty and possibility of the present moment, no longer viewing the world through the murky filter of old wounds. And as your own personal world becomes clear, you find you have the capacity to see beyond it, to feel into the vast, interconnected web of life that surrounds us all. Having emptied your vessel of the heavy poison of unforgiveness, a new lightness permeates your being. You have made peace with your personal past, and in this newfound freedom, your perspective naturally begins to expand. Your awareness, no longer tethered to the dense gravity of personal grievance, is free to rise, to soar, and to perceive a landscape of connection that was previously invisible. From this higher vantage point, you begin to sense that your consciousness is not, and has never been, an isolated island. You are a single luminous node in a vast, intricate, and intelligent network that connects all of humanity, and perhaps all of life itself. This is the web of consciousness. The journey of empathy, which began as an intimate exploration of the self, now opens out onto a cosmic scale. You are about to discover that your inner work has never been for you alone. Every act of compassion, every moment of presence, every choice for love over fear sends a palpable ripple through this universal web, contributing to the healing and evolution of the entire world. This idea of a collective consciousness is not a modern fantasy. It is an ancient truth that has been expressed in countless ways across cultures and throughout history. The philosopher Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of ancestral memories, symbols, and archetypes that form the psychic inheritance of all humanity. The biologist Rupert Sheldrake proposed the theory of morphic fields, invisible organizing fields of information that shape the development and behavior of all living things, explaining how patterns can be transmitted non-locally. The mystics of every tradition have spoken of it, describing the world as a single unified being, a manifestation of one divine mind. And the pioneers of quantum physics, in discovering the principle of entanglement, showed that two particles, once connected, remain mysteriously linked, mirroring each other's state instantly, regardless of the distance separating them. They called it spooky action at a distance. What these different languages all point to is a single fundamental truth. Separation is an illusion. We are profoundly and inextricably interconnected. Perhaps the most beautiful and accurate metaphor for this reality is found in the wisdom of an old-growth forest. On the surface, the trees appear to be separate, magnificent individuals. They compete for sunlight, and we perceive them as distinct entities. But beneath the forest floor lies a hidden world, a sprawling, intelligent network of fungal threads known as a mycelial network. This wood-wide web connects the roots of nearly every tree in the forest. Through this intricate network, the trees are in constant communication. They share vital nutrients, sending sugars from the strong to the struggling. They transmit chemical warning signals about insect attacks or drought, allowing their neighbors to raise their defenses. They nurture their own young and even support the stumps of long-felled ancestors. The forest is not a collection of trees. It is a single superorganism, a unified consciousness expressing itself as a forest. Humanity is exactly the same. Our individual lives, the ones we perceive with our five senses, are the trees. But beneath the surface of our apparent separation lies the invisible, psychic mycelial network of our shared consciousness. Through this web, we are constantly sharing information, transmitting emotional states, and influencing one another in ways far beyond our conscious awareness. You have already felt the effects of this web, even if you did not have a name for it. Have you ever felt the palpable shift in the energy of a room when a particular person walks in? Have you experienced the strange phenomenon of thinking of an old friend for the first time in years, only to have them call you that very day? Have you noticed how major ideas and inventions often seem to spring up in different parts of the world at the same time, conceived by people who have had no contact? This is the web at work. Consider the powerful unifying feeling of a crowd singing in unison at a concert, or the somber, heavy grief that can descend upon a city after a collective tragedy. These are not just individual emotions happening in parallel. They are resonant waves moving through a shared field. Every time you have a gut feeling about a situation, every time you pray for someone and they report feeling a sense of peace, you are interacting with this web. You are tapping into a non-local form of communication, a resonance that transcends physical distance. The profound implication of this is that there is no such thing as a private thought or a purely personal feeling. Every state of consciousness, every flicker of emotion, every mental pattern is a vibration that you are contributing to the collective field. It is a thread you are weaving into the great tapestry of human consciousness. A thought of judgment, even one held silently in your own mind, adds a small grey, brittle thread to the whole. A surge of anger adds a thread of jarring, fiery red. A moment of despair adds a thread of deep, heavy blue. These threads may seem insignificant on their own, but multiplied by billions and woven together over millennia, they create the very fabric of our shared human reality, the zeitgeist, the atmosphere in which we all live and breathe. But the reverse, and this is the source of our greatest hope, is also true. Every time you generate a thought of compassion, you weave a thread of soft, healing gold. Every time you feel genuine gratitude, you add a thread of shimmering silver. Every time you choose love over fear, you weave a thread of pure, radiant light into the tapestry. This reframes the entire journey we have taken so far. It has not just been a personal project of self-improvement. It has been your sacred work as a healer of the collective. Every time you chose to tend your inner garden with self-compassion, you were not just healing yourself, you were sending a pulse of nourishment through the mycelial network to all beings. Every time you chose to disarm your ego instead of engaging in conflict, you subtracted 1 unit of combative energy from the world and added 1 unit of peace. Every time you held space for another person, becoming a chalice for their pain, you strengthened the collective capacity for presence. And every time you chose the difficult path of forgiveness, you dissolved a knot of toxic, stagnant energy, not just in your own field, but in the field of humanity itself. You were healing your ancestral line. You were healing a piece of our shared human trauma. Your inner work is your most potent form of global activism. There is a phenomenon observed in systems theory known as the 100th monkey effect. The story goes that on a Japanese island, scientists were observing a colony of monkeys. One young female monkey learned to wash the sand off her sweet potatoes in the sea. She taught the skill to her mother and her peers. For a time, only a small number of monkeys practiced this new skill. But when a certain critical number, the proverbial 100th monkey, learned to wash the potatoes, the behavior suddenly and inexplicably jumped across the sea to colonies on other islands, monkeys who had had no physical contact with the original group. While the scientific accuracy of this specific story is debated, It serves as a powerful metaphor for consciousness. It suggests that when a critical mass of individuals within a collective field adopts a new awareness or behavior, that awareness can be transmitted non-locally to the rest of the group. It means your effort is not lost. You may be the 10th monkey, or the 53rd, or the 99th. You do not know. But you know that your choice to embody a higher state of consciousness is contributing to a tipping point for the entire human family. This understanding invites you into a new kind of practice, the practice of conscious contribution. At the end of your meditation, or in a moment of quiet gratitude, or after a profound feeling of love, do not simply hold that energy for yourself. Become a conscious transmitter. Visualize that beautiful, coherent energy of peace or love gathering in your heart space. Then, with your intention, offer it to the web. Imagine it flowing out from your heart as waves of light, moving through the invisible network, touching all beings who are suffering, offering comfort to those in fear, bringing a moment of grace to those in despair. Turn your personal practice into a planetary blessing. You are no longer just meditating for your own peace. You are holding a state of peace on behalf of the world. In a world where we can feel so helpless in the face of immense global challenges, this perspective returns to us our ultimate power and agency. You may not be able to single-handedly negotiate a peace treaty, but you can, with absolute certainty, refuse to contribute your own anger and hatred to the collective field. You can dedicate yourself, moment by moment, to weaving threads of compassion and understanding into the tapestry. This is your work, this is your power, and it is a sacred trust. The quality of consciousness we are cultivating today, the thoughts we are thinking, the emotions we are feeling, the choices we are making is creating the psychic and energetic atmosphere that future generations will be born into. Our inner work is our legacy. It is the world we are bequeathing to our children's children. Every single moment, therefore, is imbued with a sacred weight and a wondrous, limitless potential. You are not just a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean, experiencing itself in a single, precious drop. Having witnessed the vast, interconnected web of consciousness, and having understood the weight and power of every vibration you contribute to it, we arrive at a crucial and often overlooked aspect of our empathetic journey. The spiritual path can become a very serious affair. We focus diligently on healing our wounds, on holding space for pain, on forgiving grievances, on facing our shadows. This work is essential, but a garden that is only ever tilled, weeded, and watered in solemn silence is a garden that has forgotten the sun. Empathy is not just the ability to feel and hold sorrow. It is also the capacity to fully and authentically participate in joy, to resonate with another's happiness, to celebrate their success without reservation, and to amplify the frequency of bliss in the world is not a frivolous distraction from the real work. It is the other, luminous half of our sacred duty. To learn to share in joy is to become a powerful source of light, actively uplifting the collective one celebration at a time. For many, however, resonating with another's joy is surprisingly more difficult than resonating with their pain. When someone is suffering, our role feels clear. We are called to be the chalice, the compassionate witness. But when someone is celebrating a great success, a deep love, or a moment of profound happiness, a host of complex and uncomfortable feelings can arise within us. To amplify joy, we must first have the courage to face the shadows that block it. The most formidable barrier is the ego's deeply ingrained scarcity mindset. This is the subconscious belief that life is a zero-sum game, that there is a finite amount of good to go around. From this perspective, another person's success is a threat. If they get that promotion, that loving partner, that creative breakthrough, it feels as though they have taken a piece of a limited pie, leaving less for us. Their victory feels, on some level, like our loss. This internal voice of comparison immediately begins its painful calculus. They have that, and I do not. Therefore, I am less than, I am behind, I am failing. This scarcity mindset makes genuine celebration impossible. It turns another's good fortune into a mirror for our own perceived lack. Flowing directly from this scarcity mentality is the poison of envy. Envy is the shadow side of desire. It is the painful feeling that arises when we see another possessing something we deeply want for ourselves. It feels sharp, bitter, and diminishing. Our culture often treats envy as a shameful moral failing, something to be repressed and denied. But in our practice, we must learn to see it not as a sin, but as a signpost. Your envy is a powerful, unfiltered messenger from your soul, pointing directly at a dormant desire or an unfulfilled potential within you. The problem is not the feeling of envy itself, but our reaction to it. The destructive reaction is to let it curdle into resentment, to secretly wish for the other person to fail, to diminish their accomplishment in our own minds to make ourselves feel better. This reaction adds a toxic, contractive energy to the web of consciousness. Another significant barrier is an identity that has become overly attached to struggle. If we have built our sense of self around the story of our victimhood, our hardships, or our healing journey, another person's effortless joy can feel like a profound invalidation. Their happiness can feel like a personal affront, a judgment on our own state of being. Their light feels so bright that it seems to cast our own shadows into sharper relief, making us uncomfortable. We may find ourselves wanting to poke holes in their happiness, to find the flaw, to remind them that life is not so simple. This is the ego trying to protect its identity as the one who struggles, because the alternative, that joy is possible, that ease is available, is too threatening to its very existence. To move beyond these barriers is to engage in a profound act of spiritual alchemy. It begins with understanding the physics of joyful resonance. Just as fear and grief have a low, heavy frequency, the emotions of joy, gratitude, love, and celebration have an extraordinarily high, light, and coherent frequency. When you embody these states, you are literally changing your own vibrational output, creating an energy field that has a powerful, ordering, and healing effect on your own cells and on the environment around you. When you share in another's joy, you are not merely a passive observer, you are an active amplifier. Think of two candles in a dark room. If one candle is lit, it provides a certain amount of light. But if you take a second, unlit candle and bring it to the first, it catches the flame. The first candle's light is not diminished in any way, but the total illumination in the room has now doubled. This is the magic of shared joy. When you genuinely celebrate another's success, you are adding the light of your own joy to theirs. You are taking their solo and turning it into a duet. The amplified, combined frequency of your shared celebration then ripples out into the collective field, a powerful wave of high vibrational energy that uplifts everyone it touches. The practice, then, is to learn how to join the dance. When you hear a piece of music that moves you, your body naturally wants to sway to the rhythm. You surrender to the feeling, you allow it to animate you. To resonate with another's joy is the same. It is a form of emotional surrender. You feel the rhythm of their happiness, and instead of resisting it or analyzing it, you allow yourself to be moved by it. You join their dance. This begins with a conscious choice to become a seeker of good news, an avid collector of moments of joy. Make it a daily practice to notice and acknowledge the happiness of others, whether it's a colleague's small victory, a stranger's laughter, or a friend's great fortune. When you feel the inevitable sting of envy, the practice is not to shame yourself, but to get curious. Pause, breathe, acknowledge the feeling without judgment. Ah, there is envy. This is showing me something I deeply desire. Honor the desire. Thank the messenger. Then, consciously transmute the energy. This is the alchemical step. You take the contractive energy of "I wish I had that," and you transform it into the expansive energy of a blessing. You can say silently, "It is wonderful that such happiness is possible in this world. I celebrate their joy, and I bless their continued good fortune." And then you can add, "I affirm that I too am open to receiving my own unique form of joy and success." In this moment, you have turned a potential poison into a potent prayer, for them and for you. You have transformed the shadow of envy into the light of what is sometimes called compersion, the feeling of joy experienced by witnessing another's joy. It is the emotional opposite of envy, and it is a hallmark of a truly generous and liberated heart. This practice of amplifying joy is not about ignoring the suffering of the world. It is about bringing balance to the energetic equation. The world is not lacking in pain. It does not need us to contribute more seriousness and solemnity. What it needs are more sources of light. It needs more people willing to hold a high frequency, to anchor the vibrations of love, gratitude, and celebration into the collective field. By choosing to celebrate another, you are doing more than just making them feel good. You are casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. You are actively co-creating a reality where success is shared, where joy is contagious, and where one person's light illuminates the path for all. You are no longer just a compassionate witness to pain. You become a walking, breathing festival of light. And as you become comfortable sharing in the joy of all of humanity, your heart naturally expands even further, opening to a connection with the silent, breathing, and deeply conscious life of the non-human world that surrounds us. As your heart opens to the vast ocean of human joy and sorrow, you begin to sense that the shoreline of empathy does not end with our own species. A heart that has learned to truly listen, to feel into the essence of another being, cannot confine this gift to humanity alone. The journey now calls you to expand the circle of your kinship, to venture beyond the familiar chatter of the human world and into a much older, quieter, and deeper conversation. It is a conversation with the world itself. Ancient philosophers called this the anima mundi, the soul of the world. They perceived that the earth and all its creatures were not a collection of disparate, mechanical objects, but a single, unified, living being, animated by one overarching intelligence, one world soul. To reawaken our empathy for the non-human world is to remember our place within this soul, to learn its silent language, and to come home to the living mystery of which we are an inseparable part. For the modern mind, this can seem like a fanciful leap into poetry or pantheism. We have been deeply conditioned by a worldview that has systematically disenchanted the world. The scientific revolution, while bestowing upon us incredible gifts of technology and understanding, also taught us to see the universe as a great, unfeeling machine. Nature became a collection of inert matter, a series of chemical reactions, a resource to be managed, catalogued, and exploited. A forest was reduced to board feet of timber, a mountain to tons of mineral ore, a river to gallons of hydroelectric potential. In this mechanistic view, consciousness was a bizarre and lonely anomaly that occurred only inside the human skull. This worldview created a profound sense of alienation. It made us strangers on our own planet, tourists in a dead landscape rather than participants in a living cosmos. This was compounded by an intellectual arrogance, a deep-seated human centrism that arranged all life into a neat pyramid with ourselves perched confidently at the apex. We defined intelligence by our own specific, linguistic, and analytical standards, and by that measure, the rest of the world was found wanting. We saw animals as driven purely by instinct, plants as passive, unfeeling objects, and rocks as the very definition of lifelessness. We failed to consider that we were judging a symphony by the standards of a novel. We failed to imagine that other beings might possess a different kind of consciousness, not a lesser one. A consciousness that is slower, more diffuse, more collective, and expressed not in words, but in the language of being itself. Our indigenous ancestors lived within this richer reality. They did not need a theory of the anima mundi because they experienced it daily. Their worldview was animistic. They knew that every rock, river, plant and animal possessed a spirit, an intelligence, a being-ness that demanded respect. This was not primitive superstition. It was a highly refined mode of perception, an empathy so profound that it dissolved the boundary between human and non-human, and it is this perception that we are now seeking to reclaim. Learning to listen to the world soul is a practice of deep stillness and sensory surrender. The consciousness of a human being is loud, fast, and agitated. The consciousness of a mountain is silent, slow, and immeasurably deep. To perceive the latter, you must first quiet the former. The constant internal monologue of the human mind, the endless stream of thoughts, plans, and worries, acts as a form of static that completely drowns out the subtle frequencies of the natural world. Therefore, the first step is to find a place in nature and consciously give yourself permission to become silent. This is not just about not talking, it is about quieting the mind itself. Use your breath as an anchor, and with every exhale, let go of a layer of your human urgency. Once a measure of inner quiet has been established, the next step is to engage your embodied senses. This is not an intellectual exercise of thinking about nature. It is a direct, physical communion. Go to a tree that calls to you. Approach it with the same respect you would offer a wise elder. Place your hand gently on its rough bark. Close your eyes. Do not try to analyze it or label its species. Simply feel. Feel the texture of the bark against your palm. Feel the immense, solid stillness of its trunk. Feel its slow, patient life force, the imperceptible upward reach for the sun, and the deep, tenacious grip of its roots in the earth. You are feeling the tree's unique expression of being. You are having a direct, empathetic experience of treeness. You can do the same with a stone. Pick up a stone that has been warmed by the sun. Feel its weight, its smoothness, its stored warmth. Sense into its profound patience, its experience of deep time, its long, slow history of being shaped by wind and water. You are not projecting these qualities onto it. You are using your resonant body to perceive the qualities that are inherently there. To do this effectively, you must learn to slow down to nature's time. The frantic, hurried pace of modern human life is completely out of sync with the rhythms of the earth. To connect with a plant, you must be willing to sit with it long enough for your own nervous system to downshift. The practice can be as simple as choosing a single plant in a garden or a park and committing to sitting with it for 20 minutes. At first, your mind will be restless, but if you persist, gently bringing your attention back to the plant each time your mind wanders, something remarkable begins to happen. Your own inner rhythm begins to synchronize with the slower, more organic rhythm of the plant. In this state of shared time, a new kind of communication becomes possible, a silent knowing that is felt rather than thought. This practice extends to animals as well. While we may use words with our pets, the truest communication is energetic. It is about stilling yourself and feeling into their state of being, their contentment, their fear, their playfulness through your open heart, connecting your energy field with theirs in a silent resonance of shared feeling. The gifts that flow from this reawakening of worldly empathy are transformative. The most immediate is a profound and final end to the feeling of alienation. You realize you are not alone and have never been. You are an integral part of a vast, intelligent, and communicative family of life. The world is no longer a foreign backdrop for your human drama. It is your home, your kin. Every walk in the woods becomes a conversation. Every landscape becomes a living presence. The world is re-enchanted, filled with a mystery and depth that the purely rational mind can never access. With this connection comes the gift of diverse wisdoms. Humanity, for all its genius, has a very narrow band of experience. A mountain can teach you a wisdom of deep time, of patience, of a stillness that can withstand millennia of storms. Its presence puts your own fleeting anxieties into perspective. A river can teach you the wisdom of surrender, of relentless persistence, of how to navigate obstacles, not with force, but with flow. A tree can teach you the wisdom of seasons, of cycles, of how to let go of what is dead to make way for new growth, and how to draw nourishment from both the sky and the earth. By opening your empathy to these beings, you open yourself to their teachings. And finally, this felt sense of kinship gives rise to a fierce and authentic desire to protect the earth. Environmentalism ceases to be a political issue or an abstract ethical duty. It becomes a simple, powerful, and non-negotiable act of family love. You do not protect the earth because you should. You protect it because it is your larger body. You care for the river because it is your own circulatory system. You defend the forest because it is your own lungs. To harm the earth is to commit an act of self-harm. This expanded empathy, this felt sense that you are an inseparable part of a single, living, planetary organism, brings a new weight and clarity to your existence. You understand, on a visceral level, that your state of being, your actions, and your choices have an effect not just on other humans, but on the entire web of life. It makes you deeply aware of the law of cause and effect, the intricate and inescapable dance of action and consequence. It leads you directly to a confrontation with the universal law that the ancients called karma. As your empathy expands to encompass the vast, breathing body of the earth, you begin to perceive the world not as a series of disconnected events, but as a seamless whole, an intricate dance of cause and effect. You feel in your bones a truth that the ancient sages knew, that every action, every word, and every thought is a vibration that ripples out into the universe, and eventually, inevitably, ripples back. This is the universal law of karma. To begin to understand this law is to step out of the illusion of random chance and into the profound reality of conscious creation. But first, we must strip away the centuries of fear and superstition that have been draped over this pristine, impersonal principle. Karma is not a cosmic system of reward and punishment, administered by an unseen judge who keeps a tally of your good and bad deeds. Karma is a law of energy, as neutral, as consistent, and as educational as the law of gravity. It is the law of the echo. The universe does not judge the sound you make, it simply reflects it back to you. The journey of empathy, therefore, is not just a path to becoming a better person. It is the pragmatic and essential skill of learning how to sing a beautiful song so that you may live in a beautiful echo. The old, punitive model of karma has created immense fear and misunderstanding. It paints a picture of a judgmental god or a cosmic bureaucracy that weighs your actions and doles out suffering for your transgressions, perhaps in this life, perhaps in the next. This model casts you as a potential sinner, always at risk of incurring a karmic debt that must be painfully paid off. It can lead to a kind of spiritual anxiety, a fear-based morality where good deeds are performed not from the heart, but as a way to curry favor or to avoid punishment. It can also lead to a subtle spiritual arrogance, a tendency to look upon the misfortune of others and think, that must be their bad karma, creating judgment instead of compassion. We must discard this primitive model entirely. It is a human projection of our own justice systems onto a universe that operates on a much cleaner, more elegant principle. The new model, which is in fact the original understanding, is based on physics, not morality. The word karma simply means action or deed. The law of karma is the law of action and its corresponding reaction. It is a law of energetic resonance. Everything you do, say, think, and feel has a specific vibrational quality. That vibration, that frequency, is the cause you are sending out. By the universal law that like attracts, like sometimes called the law of attraction, that frequency will attract back to you experiences, people and circumstances that resonate with the same frequency. This is the effect. The universe is not punishing you for your anger. It is simply matching the frequency of your anger by bringing you more situations that will provoke anger. It is not rewarding you for your love. It is matching the frequency of your love by bringing you more experiences of love. The law is impersonal. It does not care if you are a good or a bad person. It only reads and reflects your energetic output. Crucially, the karmic weight of an action is determined not by the physical act itself, but by the intention behind it. Intention is the energy that fuels the action. It is the frequency that the universe actually reads. Two people can perform the exact same act with vastly different karmic consequences. Imagine one person giving a large sum of money to a charity with the intention of gaining public recognition, feeding their ego, and creating a tax benefit. The energy behind this act is one of self-service and vanity. The karmic echo will, therefore, be one that reinforces the ego and its insatiable needs. Now, imagine another person giving a smaller, anonymous donation with the pure intention of alleviating suffering, with a heart overflowing with genuine compassion. The energy behind this act is one of selfless love and connection. The karmic echo will be one that reinforces love and connection in their own life. The outward act was similar. The inner act, the karmic cause, was entirely different. This places the power and the responsibility for our reality squarely back where it belongs, in the inner landscape of our own consciousness. This is where the entire journey of empathy becomes the master key to shaping your reality. At every moment of your life, you stand at a karmic choice point. You have the option to react from the ego's programming of fear, judgment, and separation, or to respond from the heart's wisdom of empathy, compassion, and connection. Each path sends a distinctly different signal into the universe, and therefore creates a distinctly different future reality for you to inhabit. When someone insults you, the reactive path is to judge them, to feel anger, to retaliate. This sends out a low-frequency broadcast of conflict, and the universe, in its perfect impartiality, will echo that back, bringing you more conflict. The empathetic path, however, is to pause, to see the universal mirror and recognize their pain, to hold space for your own feeling of being hurt without lashing out, to perhaps even practice forgiveness. This response sends out a high-frequency broadcast of peace and understanding, and the universe will faithfully echo that back, bringing more peace and understanding into your life. Let us return to the metaphor of the echo in the Grand Canyon. Your life is this canyon. Each empathetic practice you have cultivated is a new and beautiful sound you can make. When you practice self-compassion instead of self-criticism, you are calling out, "I am worthy of love," and the canyon of your life must echo back experiences that confirm your worthiness. When you celebrate another's joy instead of succumbing to envy, you are shouting, "There is abundance for all," and the canyon must echo back experiences of abundance and shared joy. When you choose to forgive, you are releasing the sound of "I choose freedom and peace," and the echo that returns cannot be one of bondage and turmoil. You are composing the soundtrack of your own life, and the universe is your orchestra, faithfully playing back the notes you have written. We can also see this through the metaphor of being a gardener in the garden of your own reality. Your consciousness is the fertile soil. Every thought, every intention, and every empathetic action is a seed. For most of our lives, we have been planting seeds unconsciously, scattering seeds of fear, worry, judgment, and scarcity. And then we stand aghast at the thorny, bitter harvest of our lives, blaming the weather, the soil, the gods. The path of empathy is the path of becoming a conscious gardener. You learn to recognize the difference between the seeds of life-affirming flowers and the seeds of noxious weeds. The inner work of noticing the ego, of choosing presence, of cultivating compassion, is the act of meticulously weeding your garden. You consciously choose which seeds to plant. You know that a seed of holding space for another will grow into a reality where space is held for you. A seed of respecting the anima mundi will grow into a reality where you feel the profound support of the living world around you. You are not a victim of the garden. You are its creator, its steward, its loving caretaker. This understanding initiates the most profound shift possible, the shift from victim to architect. You cease to see your life as a series of random, unfortunate events happening to you. You begin to see it as a perfect feedback system happening for you, a system designed to show you the quality of the energy you are transmitting. This is not about blaming yourself for past suffering. The misfortunes you have experienced were the result of seeds planted from a place of unconsciousness, from a place of not knowing this law. There is no blame. There is only the opportunity for a new awareness. Right now, the past is gone, its karmic seeds have sprouted, and you have experienced the harvest. All of your power exists in this present moment. In this eternal now, you can choose to plant a different seed. You can choose to think a different thought. You can choose to respond with empathy instead of react with fear. That single choice, made now, is a powerful karmic cause that begins in this very instant to architect a new future, a new echo, a new harvest. This is the ultimate empowerment. It is the realization that the universe is not hostile, nor is it indifferent. It is an infinitely patient and intelligent partner in your evolution. It is constantly providing you with a perfect mirror of your inner state, so that you may learn, grow, and become a more conscious creator. And the most powerful, most high-frequency cause you can generate, the most beautiful seed you can plant, is simply the state of your own being. To hold a state of peaceful, present, empathetic awareness is to broadcast the purest and most coherent signal possible. This silent, unwavering presence is not a passive state. It is the most potent karmic action you can perform. It is a song of such beauty that the echo that returns will be a life of grace, flow, and profound connection. Having come to understand the great law of karma, you realize that the most powerful cause you can generate in the universe is the quality of your own consciousness. Your state of being is your primary action. This leads us to the most refined and potent expression of empathy, a form of communication that transcends all doing and enters the sacred realm of pure being. We have explored the art of sacred listening, of hearing the words beneath the words. We have learned to read the unspoken language of the energetic signature. Now, we arrive at a level of connection that is even deeper, a communication that has no language at all. This is the silent transmission, the direct, heart-to-heart knowing that is the pinnacle of our empathetic journey. It is the power of becoming a space so profoundly still that your very presence is the message, the healing, the love itself. To appreciate this form of formless communication, we must first recognize the inherent limitations of all forms. Words, our most common tool, are profoundly inadequate. They are second-hand vessels, attempts to containerize a living experience. The moment an experience is translated into a word, it is filtered, reduced, and often distorted. The word love is not love. It is a symbol pointing to an experience that is a billion times richer than the symbol itself. Words can be, and often are, misunderstood. Body language is more honest, a more direct expression of our inner state, but it is still a dialect that can be misread or misinterpreted through the filter of another's perception. Even sensing another's energy field, as we have learned to do, is still a perception of their emotional weather. It is a reading of their current condition, their sadness, their joy, their anxiety. It is still a form of information exchange from one being to another. Silent transmission is of a different order altogether. It is not an exchange of information about a condition. It is a communion of essence. It is not something you do. It is what happens when you have completely ceased all doing, including the subtle doing of trying to listen or trying to be empathetic. The absolute prerequisite for this transmission is a state of profound inner emptiness. This is a level of stillness beyond mere mental quiet. It is a state where the ego, the sense of a separate me who is listening to a separate them, has temporarily dissolved. You are no longer a person in a chair offering comfort. You have become the comfort itself. You have become the space. In this state of pure, open, non-reactive awareness, you are empty of agenda, empty of any desire to fix or change, empty even of the desire to heal. There is only a vast, silent, and loving presence. When one human being can hold this state of utter emptiness for another, a unified field is created between them. Understanding no longer needs to travel from one mind to another through the clumsy medium of words or gestures. Instead, knowing arises simultaneously within the shared field. It is a direct, unmediated communion. The most beautiful metaphor for this is the relationship between stars in the night sky. Two stars do not send signals to each other. They do not shout across the void. They simply exist, each one radiating its own light, holding its own position. And yet, their silent mutual presence defines the vastness and the beauty of the space between them. Their relationship is one of pure, radiant being. To practice silent transmission is to learn to be like a star. You cease all effortful communication, and you simply radiate the quiet light of your own peaceful essence. That radiation, that silent shining, is the entire message. You have felt this, even if you could not name it. It is the profound, wordless comfort of sitting in complete silence with a loved one who is deep in grief. Any word you could offer would feel like a clumsy intrusion, a disruption of the sacred space. Your silent, unwavering presence says everything that needs to be said. I am here. I am not afraid of your pain. You are not alone. It is the telepathic-like understanding that can exist between two people who have shared a lifetime, where a single glance can convey paragraphs of meaning. It is the palpable transmission of peace that can occur in a room with a true meditation master. They are not doing anything. They are simply abiding in a state of profound stillness, and everyone in their presence is invited into that same state through the power of resonance. The silence they embody is not an empty silence. It is a silence that is full of peace, full of love, full of being. What, then, is being transmitted in this silence? It is the most essential nourishment for the soul. The first is a transmission of peace. Your deeply settled and grounded nervous system acts as a powerful tuning fork for theirs. In the presence of your profound inner calm, their own agitated nervous system, without any conscious effort on their part, naturally begins to slow down, to de-excite, to find a calmer rhythm. They are not being told to be peaceful. They are being given a direct, felt experience of peace itself. The second is a transmission of clarity. Your empty, silent, non-judgmental awareness acts as a perfect, flawless mirror. Because you have no agenda and no reaction, you are not distorting their reflection with your own opinions or feelings. In the space of your stillness, they can see themselves, their situation, and their own inner truth with a clarity that was previously impossible. Their own wisdom, which was obscured by the noise of their own mind, suddenly emerges into the clear, open space that you are holding for them. You have not given them a single piece of advice, yet in your presence they have found their own answer. And the third, and most profound, is a transmission of love. This is not the sentimental, personal love of the ego. It is not the love of one person for another. It is the impersonal, unconditional, and universal love that is the very fabric of consciousness. It is the energy of pure acceptance. To be held in this silent, loving presence is to feel seen and accepted at the deepest possible level, beyond your personality, beyond your flaws, beyond your story. It is the feeling of coming home to your own essential nature. This silent love is perhaps the most powerful healing agent in the universe. This state is not a technique you can learn from a book. It is not a special power you acquire. It is the natural state that emerges when all the inner work we have explored comes to fruition. It is the result of tending your garden, of disarming your ego, of accepting what is, and of purifying your heart. It is the final realization that the greatest help you can ever offer another human being is to do nothing at all, but to simply be the most silent, empty, and loving presence you can possibly be. Your silence is your sermon. Your emptiness is your gift. Your being is your healing. But this sublime state of empathy, this profound capacity for connection, will meet its greatest test not in the peaceful silence of communion, but in the chaotic noise of conflict, in the presence of those who challenge us, who provoke us, and who seem to exist in opposition to everything we hold dear. It is here that we meet our most difficult and most potent teacher. We have journeyed through the sublime and peaceful states of empathy, silent communion, the cosmic connection, the resonance of shared joy. It is easy to feel compassionate and connected in a quiet room, in the heart of nature, or in the presence of those we love. But the spiritual path is not forged on the smooth ground of comfort. It is tempered in the fire of friction. And so, we inevitably arrive at the final and most challenging examination of our practice. We arrive at the difficult teacher. This teacher does not come robed in saffron or speaking in wise koans. They come in the form of the critical boss, the manipulative family member, the unreliable friend, the abrasive stranger, the partner who pushes every button you have. They are the people who trigger you, who frustrate you, who anger you, and who hurt you. Our instinct is to label them as toxic, as obstacles, as enemies to our peace. But from a higher perspective, from the viewpoint of the soul, these individuals are not unfortunate accidents. They are our most advanced gurus, our most potent spiritual teachers, assigned to us with perfect precision to show us exactly where our work is still unfinished. To embrace this radical perspective, we must first understand the curriculum. What is this difficult person here to teach you? Their curriculum is tailored specifically to your soul's evolution, and the nature of your emotional reaction to them is the syllabus. One of their primary lessons is to act as a perfect, unflattering mirror for your own shadow. The psychological principle is simple. That which irritates you most in others is often a disowned or repressed aspect of yourself. The arrogant person who drives you to distraction is mirroring a part of your own ego that you have denied, perhaps because you were taught that it was wrong to be proud. Their audacious self-importance highlights your own fear of taking up space. The passive-aggressive person whose indirectness makes you furious is shining a light on your own unexpressed anger, your own unwillingness to state your needs clearly. Their behavior is a caricature of a quality that exists in some subtle form within you. They are not here to annoy you, they are here to help you integrate a lost piece of yourself. Until you can see, own, and make peace with that quality in yourself, the universe will keep sending you teachers who express it externally. These difficult teachers are also the ultimate testers of your boundaries. They are masters at finding the hairline fractures in your fences, the weak spots in your energetic field. The person who constantly drains your energy with their endless dramas is not a vampire. They are a diagnostic tool, showing you precisely where you have not yet learned to say a firm and loving no. They are teaching you the art of self-respect, The person who is chronically late or unreliable is not just being disrespectful, they are testing your ability to honor your own time and to communicate your standards clearly. The person who bulldozes your opinions in conversation is offering you a masterclass in finding your own voice. Each time you feel drained, taken advantage of, or unheard in their presence, it is not a sign of their wickedness, but a clear signal from your teacher pointing to a specific boundary that you need to build or reinforce. They will continue to present you with the test until you finally pass it. Furthermore, those who wound us most deeply are the very ones who provide us with the opportunity for the most profound liberation. They are the agents of forgiveness. They deliver to our doorstep the heavy, painful package of a grievance. It is a gift in the most challenging disguise. Without the wound, there can be no healing. Without the grievance, there can be no practice of release. The person who betrayed your trust gives you the opportunity to discover a strength and self-reliance you never knew you had. The person whose cruelty broke your heart gives you the chance to learn how to source love from within your own being, rather than from external validation. They create the very conditions that necessitate your greatest spiritual breakthroughs. They are the grit, the irritating grain of sand that finds its way into the soft tissue of the oyster. Without their irritating presence, the beautiful luminous pearl of your wisdom, your resilience, and your compassion would never be formed. This leads to the ultimate lesson, the mastery of unconditional love. It is easy to love the lovable. It requires little of us to feel compassion for the kind, the gentle, the suffering. But can you find a flicker of compassion for the person who seems impossible to love? Can you look past their abrasive personality, their hurtful actions, and see the wounded child within them that is acting out of its own deep pain? Can you hold space for the reality of their being, as unpleasant as it may be, without needing them to change in order to make you comfortable? This is the final exam. To find love for the unlovable is to touch the divine. It is not a sentimental love. It is a profound, impersonal compassion that recognizes the spark of universal consciousness, even in its most distorted and painful manifestation. To learn these lessons, you must consciously shift your perspective from that of a victim to that of a student. The moment a difficult person triggers you, the victim's mind immediately asks, "Why is this person doing this to me? Why am I so unlucky? What is wrong with them?" This line of questioning leads only to powerlessness and resentment. The student's mind, however, asks a different set of questions. What is this situation activating in me? What is this person showing me about myself? What is the lesson here that my soul is trying to learn? This simple shift in inquiry changes everything. You are no longer a passive target of unfortunate events. You are an active participant in your own evolution, and the world is your classroom. It is crucial, however, to separate the teacher from the teaching. Recognizing someone's role as your spiritual teacher does not in any way mean you must condone their destructive behavior or that you must keep them in your life. This is not a call for spiritual masochism. You can absolutely recognize the lesson, honor the teacher for bringing it, and then, as an act of profound self-love and healthy boundaries, walk away. You can say, "Thank you for showing me that I need to value myself more. The lesson is learned, and the class is now over." In fact, learning to walk away, to lovingly and firmly remove yourself from a toxic dynamic, is often the final examination that the teacher came to give you. The practice, then, when you find yourself triggered, is to first create a sacred pause. Between their action and your habitual reaction, create a space. In that space, breathe. In that space, instead of projecting blame outward, turn your attention inward. Ask the students questions. Feel what is being activated in your own body. Is it an old wound? Is it a fear? Is it a judgment? See the person before you not as an antagonist, but as a highly skilled, if unconscious, personal trainer for your soul. They are providing the exact resistance necessary for your spiritual muscles to grow. As an advanced and deeply transformative practice, you can even, in the quiet of your own heart, offer them a silent thank you. You are not thanking them for their hurtful words or actions. You are thanking their soul for agreeing to play this difficult role in your life, for being the catalyst that has forced you to awaken, to strengthen, and to heal. When you can consistently see the world through this lens, your reality transforms. The world is no longer divided into friends and enemies. It is simply divided into those who offer you comfort and those who offer you growth. Both are gifts. You begin to greet every challenge not with dread, but with a kind of holy curiosity. You become grateful for the grit because you know it is the raw material for your own pearls. And a remarkable thing begins to happen. When you have fully learned the lesson that a difficult teacher has come to offer, they often either fade away from your life or your relationship with them miraculously transforms into one of peace. The dynamic changes because you have changed. You no longer need the lesson, so the teacher's job is done. You have graduated. And with this graduation, having learned to find empathy for even your greatest challenger, you are now prepared for the final stage of the journey, the complete dissolution of the boundary between self and other, and the direct experience of oneness itself. Having walked the path of empathy through its many landscapes, from the inner garden of the self, through the shadowy fortress of the ego, into the sacred silence of deep listening and the vibrant dance of shared joy, and finally, through the refining fire of the difficult teacher, we arrive at the final frontier of consciousness. The journey up until now has been one of building bridges, of learning to see, hear, and feel the other with ever-increasing clarity and compassion. But the final turning of the path reveals a startling secret. The ultimate purpose of empathy is not to understand the other. It is to dissolve the very self that perceives an other in the first place. This is the dissolving boundary, the direct, felt experience of oneness. It is the moment the seeker ceases their search, not because they have found the answer, but because they have realized they are the answer they have been seeking. It is the ultimate homecoming. This experience is not a sudden, random lightning strike of grace, reserved for a few mystics on a mountaintop. It is the natural, cumulative result of the diligent inner work you have already undertaken. Think of the illusion of the separate self as a great dam, holding back the ocean of universal consciousness. Every act of empathy you have practiced has been the removal of a single stone from that dam. Tending to your inner garden with self-compassion healed the cracks in the foundation. Disarming the ego dismissed the guard who patrolled the ramparts. Sacred listening opened the sluice gates. Seeing the universal mirror revealed that the water on the other side was the same as the water within. Holding space as a chalice strengthened your own structure so you would not be swept away. Forgiveness dynamited the old, calcified resentments that made up the bulk of the wall. And learning from the difficult teacher removed the very last, stubborn stones of us versus them. And now, with the structure of separation fatally weakened, the water of the one consciousness begins to flow through, not as a trickle, but as a tide, until the dam itself dissolves into the ocean it was holding back. The nature of this experience marks a fundamental shift in perception. Previously, empathy was an act of reaching across a perceived gap. You felt compassion for the person in pain. You felt joy for the person celebrating. There was still a subject, I, and an object, them. In the state of oneness, this subject-object duality collapses. You no longer feel empathy for the suffering person. You experience the universal energy of suffering as it moves through the one shared field of which you are both an expression. The pain is not theirs, and your compassion is not yours. There is only the compassionate awareness of pain arising in consciousness. You do not feel joy for the happy person. You experience the frequency of joy itself, delighting in its own existence. The boundary has become so porous, so transparent, that the distinction between inner and outer becomes meaningless. The most enduring metaphor for this realization is that of the drop of water and the ocean. For most of our lives, we experience ourselves as a single, separate, and vulnerable drop of water. We are defined by our surface tension, the container of our skin, the narrative of our personal history, our name, our roles, our fears. The drop is acutely aware of its own fragility. It is terrified of its own end, the moment of evaporation or impact when its distinct form will be lost. This is the source of all human fear. The path of empathy is the process of the drop becoming more aware of its environment. It begins to feel the pull of the tides, to sense the temperature of the currents, to taste the pervasive saltiness that it shares with all the other drops. It begins to suspect it is part of something larger. The experience of oneness is the moment the surface tension of the drop finally breaks. It is the moment the drop dissolves, and in its dissolution, it does not experience an annihilation, but an infinite expansion. It has the direct, shocking, irrefutable, and profoundly liberating realization: I am not a drop in the ocean. I am the entire ocean, experiencing itself for a moment as a drop. To describe this state with words is to attempt to capture the sun in a net. Language is a tool of separation, designed to name this and not that. Oneness is the reality that precedes all names, but we can point to the felt sense of it. The first quality is the collapse of inner and outer space. The feeling of being a self located behind the eyes, looking out at a world out there, disappears. The breath of the wind against your skin feels as intimate as the breath in your own lungs. The sound of a bird singing is not an external event processed by your ears. It arises within the boundless field of your own awareness. The joy or pain in another's heart is no longer a distant signal you are reading. It is a direct sensation occurring in the same unified space where your sensations occur. You look at a tree, and for a moment, the identity of observer and the object of tree dissolve. There is only a silent, vibrant, unified field of seeing treeing. From this collapse of duality arises a profound and unshakable peace. This is not the fleeting happiness that comes from getting what you want. It is the deep, foundational peace that comes from the cessation of all wanting, all striving, all resisting. The inner war is finally over, not because one side has won, but because the two opposing side, self and other, me and the universe, have been realized as a single, indivisible whole. There is nothing to defend, nothing to acquire, nothing to fear. You are resting in the heart of what is, and you realize that what is you. This peace is not an emotion that comes and goes. It is the very texture of reality itself, a silent stillness that underpins all the noise and motion of the world. Within this peace, you discover that the very fabric of this unified field is an unconditional, intelligent love. This is not the emotional, preferential love of the ego, which loves one person and not another, which loves pleasure and hates pain. This is a vast, impersonal, and radiant love that holds everything with perfect, non-judgmental equanimity. It is a love that embraces the light and the dark, the saint and the sinner, the beautiful and the terrifying. It is the love of the ocean for all of its waves, the stormy and the placid alike. To experience this is to feel unconditionally safe and accepted for the first time, because you realize you are being held by a love that you are also made of. And in this realization, the deepest human fear, the fear of death and annihilation, loses its power. If you are the entire ocean, the dissolution of your particular wave form the death of the body, and the ego is no longer a terrifying end. It is simply a return to the boundless source from which you were never, for one instant, truly separate. A common fear arises here. If I experience this oneness, will I disappear? Will I lose my personality, my memories, my ability to function? This is the ego's last stand, its fear of its own dissolution. The beautiful paradox is that the unique expression that is you continues. The wave does not vanish from the sea. You still have your name, your preferences, your unique history, but you are no longer exclusively identified with it. You, the vast, silent, oceanic consciousness, are now playing the part of the wave, consciously, lovingly, and without attachment. Your actions are no longer dictated by the wave's isolated fears and desires. Instead, they begin to arise from the deep, intuitive wisdom of the entire ocean. This is the beginning of truly selfless and enlightened action. It is not a sterile endpoint, but the starting point of a new way of living, where every thought, word, and deed is an expression of the whole. It is the challenge of taking this sublime peak experience and learning to embody it as your natural, abiding state, moment by moment, breath by breath, in the midst of ordinary life. We have stood on the summit of consciousness and felt the boundary between self and other dissolve into the infinite ocean of oneness. This peak experience is the ultimate truth of our being, but we are not meant to live our lives forever on that rarefied mountaintop. The final stage of the journey, the true mark of integration, is to learn how to carry the wisdom of the mountain back down into the marketplace. It is the challenge of embodying that expansive, unified awareness in the midst of ordinary, everyday life. The path of empathy, which began as a conscious and sometimes effortful practice, must now become so deeply integrated that it is as natural, as automatic, and as life-sustaining as your own breath. The ultimate goal is not to practice empathy. The goal is for empathy to become the very air you breathe, the silent rhythm that animates your every moment. To understand this, let us use the breath itself as our final and most intimate metaphor. Your breath is a constant, miraculous exchange between your inner world and the outer world. It has two movements, the in-breath and the out-breath, and it happens, for the most part, without any conscious thought or effort. This is the model for a fully embodied, empathetic life. The in-breath is the empathetic act of receiving the world. It is the culmination of everything we have learned about listening and acceptance. When you draw in a breath, you are taking the world into yourself. In the same way, you learn to breathe in the reality of each moment without resistance. When another person speaks, you breathe in their words, their energy, their truth, just as it is. This is sacred listening. When a difficult situation arises, you breathe in the reality of what is, without arguing or fighting with it. This is radical acceptance. You no longer brace against reality. You receive it, knowing that, like oxygen, it is the very substance that nourishes your growth and awareness. You trust that you can take it all in, because your inner space is now vast enough to hold it. The out-breath is your empathetic offering to the world. It is the culmination of everything we have learned about holding space and conscious contribution. After you have taken in the world, you release your own energy back into it. But what is the quality of this exhalation? Having been filtered through your own peaceful, centered core, what you breathe out is no longer reactivity, judgment, or advice. You breathe out stillness. You breathe out acceptance. You breathe out the silent, healing presence of the chalice. Your out-breath is your non-verbal communication of safety and peace to the world around you. It is your contribution to the web of consciousness. It is the silent transmission of love. This rhythmic, constant exchange breathing in the world as it is, and breathing out your peaceful presence becomes the new baseline of your existence. The most profound aspect of this metaphor is its effortlessness. A healthy being does not need to remind themselves to breathe. The body's innate intelligence handles it perfectly. In the beginning of our journey, empathy felt like a form of conscious breathing, like a yogic practice where we had to deliberately focus on each inhale and exhale. We had to remind ourselves, now, listen. Now, don't judge. Now, set a boundary. But as these practices are integrated, they move from the conscious mind into the deep intelligence of the heart. They become second nature. You no longer have to try to be present. You simply are present. You no longer have to decide to hold space. Your presence automatically becomes a sanctuary. Empathy is no longer a technique you apply. It is the very nature of your being. Let us see what this looks like in the simple, ordinary moments of your life. When you are in a conversation, you are no longer mentally preparing your response while the other person speaks. You are not practicing a listening technique. You are simply breathing with them. You are fully receiving their communication on all levels, and your response, when it comes, arises naturally from that deep, shared space. The conversation ceases to be a series of turns and becomes a single, unified flow. When you find yourself in a moment of conflict or disagreement, your old pattern might have been to immediately defend, attack, or withdraw. Now, your first automatic response is to breathe. You feel the surge of adrenaline, the tightening in your chest, and you meet it with the conscious in-breath of acceptance. Yes, this feeling is here. You see the other person not as an adversary, but as a difficult teacher. You breathe in their anger or frustration without taking it on personally, and your out-breath is not a sharp rebuttal but a space of calm. From this centered place, you can speak your truth clearly and kindly, seeking connection rather than victory. When you are alone, you no longer feel the sharp sting of loneliness. Your solitude is not an emptiness, but a fullness. As you breathe, you feel your connection to the anima mundi, the living world around you. Your in-breath feels like you are breathing in the patience of the mountains. Your out-breath feels like you are contributing your peace to the rustling leaves. Your own company becomes a deep, silent, and joyful communion with all of life. In a crowd, at your workplace, or in public transit, you are no longer just an anonymous individual. You are a mobile, silent sanctuary. You are unconsciously breathing out a frequency of peace. The stressed-out person next to you may not know why they suddenly feel a bit calmer. They are simply resonating with the quiet harmony of your field. Your very being becomes a form of selfless, effortless service. This is not to say that you will achieve a permanent, unbroken state of enlightened perfection. That is another illusion of the ego. You are human. There will be days when you are tired, when your old triggers flare up, when you forget to breathe and find yourself reacting from a place of fear or judgment. This is not a failure. It is simply a moment of falling out of rhythm. The practice, in these moments, is not to engage in harsh self-criticism. The practice is to be kind. The practice is to notice that you have forgotten, and then, gently, lovingly, you simply return to the breath. You take one conscious, empathetic breath, receiving the moment as it is, and offering your peace back to it. That one breath is all it takes to come home. The entire journey of empathy, from the first inward glance to the final experience of oneness, was never about adding something to you that you did not already have. It was never about becoming an empathetic person. It was always about the gentle, persistent dissolving of the barriers, the fears, the judgments, the false beliefs that were obscuring the profound empathy that is your innate nature. It was always about remembering how to breathe in harmony with the universe. When empathy becomes your breath, your life is transformed. It ceases to be a series of problems to be solved and becomes a continuous, flowing meditation. Every interaction is a sacred exchange. Every challenge is an opportunity for a deeper breath, and your very existence becomes a silent, moving prayer, a continuous and effortless act of love. We have arrived at the end of our journey together, and yet it is also a beginning. We began with a single, quiet whisper, a promise of a language older than words. We have walked the inner landscapes, from the guarded gate of the ego to the vast, open fields of oneness. We have learned to listen, to hold, to release, and to see our own reflection in the eyes of everyone we meet, from the beloved to the most difficult teacher. And now, we return home, to the silent, peaceful center of your own being, which was the destination all along. This journey was not about accumulating knowledge, it was an act of remembrance. It was a process of attunement, of gently, patiently recalibrating your own instrument to the forgotten frequency of empathy. That frequency has always been playing. It is the subtle music of the universe, the resonant hum of connection that exists beneath all the noise of the world. You have not learned a new song. You have simply cleared away the static so that you could finally hear the music that you are. Carry with you not a set of rules, but a simple orientation of the heart. Let it be a lens through which you see the world, a silent mantra that lives in your breath. When you meet another being, let this be the silent truth in your heart. I see you. I hear you. In you, I see myself. This is the code. This is the key. This is the entire teaching. It is the recognition of being, the honoring of their truth, and the final, joyful dissolution of the illusion of separation. Do not strive. Do not seek. You have already arrived. The work is simply to remember this, to embody it, to breathe it. And now, there is nothing more to say. The words have served their purpose. Let them dissolve. All that remains is the stillness they were pointing to, the peace that is your true nature. Return to the stillness. Return to the breath. The frequency is yours. The connection is you. Be still and know.